Welcome, everyone. We are live with the Oscars show. I'm sorry I am 6 minutes late, and I'm usually never late when it comes to these live streams. I know other people are constantly late. We do have people in the comments already, mix and match. Hello from Vienna. Thank you all for being here today. I need to share this stream still. Let me go share it. I'm sorry, guys. I am just so far behind on everything today. But we are going to be talking about the Oscars, the 96 Oscars this year. And Jacob, I actually, because I was really invested in the Oscars last year because of all of the movies that I thought maybe had a chance. This year, like starting with the Golden Globes, it became very clear how things were going to go. I'm really invested in Christopher Nolan winning the Oscar, but I think that he's gonna do. I think he's gonna win it actually because he's just been sweeping on every other award show. So, how are you feeling tonight? Are you particularly invested in what goes down tonight?
I'm interested in seeing Christopher Nolan win. I've told you many a time he's my favorite director, so at least active director. But I'm excited about that. One Oscar that I am kind of like, I'm not sure if I want Oppenheimer to win, is I want Paul Giamatti to win Best Actor for The Holdovers. That's probably my one exception. I think Paul Giamatti was fantastic in that movie, and he really should have won for Love and Mercy and Cinderella Man. He should have won for both of those films. So I would like to see him take home an Oscar, and The Holdovers is a fantastic film. So I do hope that he gets it.
So I just got everything shared and everything set up and everything monetized. If you guys have a question for us, if you just want to like interject anything that you want to ask us, then of course, and you want to make sure that we see it, you can leave a super chat in the comments, and it really appreciate it. Helps the channel out. Somebody asked, where are you guys watching the event at? That's a little complex because last year I got a free trial for live TV and I was watching it there. And but I thought it was going to be on Hulu, and apparently you have to have Hulu Live TV in order to watch it. So that's my fault. Like I said, I have not been as invested in the award show this year, but that's right now I've got it on YouTube where they just have a box in the middle, and that's okay because I can hear it and I can see the gist of it. So I'm watching it live from YouTube. Somebody is streaming it with the apparently with just a box in the middle. So that's
and I am following on Twitter. There's an account I'm following that is live tweeting what's going on, and so that's how I am keeping up with everything.
Okay, so that's what we got here. Let me just make sure this is correct. Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel is on, Jacob.
Boo. I don't know why they ask him back. The last 3 times he was on, he bombed. So I know. It's like I don't know why they just don't invite David Letterman back. I mean, he was probably the worst Oscars host of all time, and Jimmy Kimmel's definitely the second.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when you said David Letterman, for some reason my brain said Jared Leto, and I'm like, why would you want Jared Leto to come on? That was weird. Thank you.
Maybe he can just look creepy eyes at everyone the whole time. That'd be more entertaining than Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel is doing his like jokes. Let's see what he's got.
Okay.
He's talking about Barbie and how that's the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah, no, duh, Jimmy. What's the joke? Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. I really hope Boy and Heron wins Best Animated Feature.
I think it will.
You think it's? I think Spider-Man's going to win Across the Spider-Verse.
The Boy and the Heron's really been getting a lot of awards.
That's true.
Oh no, he's going to get into the nominations of directors. Okay, so he said, why wasn't Greta Gerwig nominated for Best Director? I know you're clapping, but you're the ones who didn't vote for her. That's just, here's what I think is the problem with the Oscars.
And Justine Triet got nominated. What's he talking about?
Yeah. What's strange with the Oscars, they always, and with awards show in general, they always try this really self-deprecating humor, and it really falls on its face.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows they're just going to go party afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's he talking about? Justine Triet got nominated for Anatomy of a Fall. Sadly, I've
Yeah.
not seen that movie. I hear it's pretty good.
Well,
But
that's the problem people are saying is they're like, why, like, this is like offensive and all that stuff. And it's like, but you're talking about if they were to be nominated, if Greta Gerwig was to be nominated, if Margot Robbie was to be nominated, that's taking a place away from another woman in those categories that was nominated. There were other women who got nominated for those categories that they completely overlooked.
exactly
I think somebody
right.
put it a great way. That's like, don't tell me why you think they should have won. Tell me who you think doesn't deserve out of the people who've been nominated.
That's a great point.
Oh, he's talking about Christopher Nolan now.
Christopher Nolan. I just recently watched Memento. What a fantastic movie.
That is a fantastic movie. Oh my gosh. He said, oh, we have Cillian Murphy here. When Cillian Murphy does comedy, it's Cillian. I was like, really?
Okay, I'll give him that one. That's a pretty good one.
He's saying this is the high point of Robert Downey Jr.'s long and illustrious career.
Wait, is he nominated for something?
Yeah,
Downey Oppenheimer. Okay, that's right. I forgot he was on there. He wasn't in the movie that much. Why was he? Shouldn't that have gone to Matt Damon?
I actually he was Louis Strauss. He was in the movie quite a bit. I thought he was
Yeah,
great.
but not as much as other supporting actors. It feels, that's kind of doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm on Robert Downey's side for this. I really liked him in that movie.
Oh yeah, I liked him too. I'm just saying it just is surprising because normally anytime Harvey Weinstein bro Matt Damon is in a movie, they slap a Oscar nom his way.
Yeah, Jimmy just threw shade at Marvel, but I didn't hear the joke because we were talking over each other. But I'm sure it'll be up later. I'll see it. Maybe somebody tweeted it.
Missing one of his jokes isn't that big of a deal anyway. The only Marvel movie that's nominated is Guardians of the Galaxy for Best Visual Effects. So
yeah,
Volume 3.
He was talking like relative to Downey's career and what he's known for.
Oh, I see.
Robert Downey has been very negative. Well, I won't say very negative. You can just tell from interviews that he doesn't like that he's mostly known. Oh, turn myself off. He doesn't like that he is mostly known for Iron Man. He did that for 10 years and he wants to do something else.
Well, then do something else. I mean, the guy sat on his hands forever. It feels like he just did bit parts, or he's just a side character in Oppenheimer. Do something else, Robert. You think no one's going to cast you? It's like I always say, like
Doolittle. He did Doolittle.
Yeah. Well, also he was supposed to be Perry Mason, but he dropped out of that in favor of just producing it. I think that was a mistake. I think he should have done Perry Mason, but I guess he didn't want to commit to a TV show. But
okay,
go ahead.
Well, I'm just missing awful jokes people are saying. I guess I'm missing his opening monologue, but I don't really care. Jacob, so let's go through the categories. I got a screenshot here of the bulletin and how they're going to somebody screenshotted their bulletin from the Oscars. The first one is going to be actress in a supporting role, and then animated short film, animated feature film, original screenplay. So we've got a lot of big ones first up. So actress in a supporting role, out of the people that we know are nominated, there's like Davine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers. There's Emily Blunt from Oppenheimer. Who do you think deserves to win Best Supporting Actress this year?
Who do I think deserves it? Emily Blunt, hands down. Now, granted, I haven't seen Barbie or The Color Purple, so I don't know how they performed, but I actually think America Ferrera is going to win it. They're going to throw Barbie a bone a little bit. I actually don't think the Oscars wanted anything to do with Barbie, but I think they're going to give it. Either. Yeah, I think they're going to give it to America Ferrera just to pat it on the head and send it on its way.
Yeah, I'd be surprised actually if America Ferrera wins, because like as soon as I watched the Golden Globes and I just saw how much they kind of thumbed their nose at Barbie, I realized, oh, the Academy doesn't actually like that film as much as the people who made it wanted them to. And so that's
the Golden Globes are the foreign press, though. I don't really think they reflect the Oscars.
but then the other awards shows also just kind of, swept it
That's
away.
true.
Like everyone kept saying before Oscar season, like, oh, Ryan Gosling, he's going to sweep everything. He got some nominations. He didn't win any of the major awards. So I think, honestly, I think anybody but America Ferrera has a chance to win, but we'll see. What we were talking about, I went on such a journey with the Barbie movie where I first watched it and like my entire theater was laughing and I was like, I don't get it. And then I'm like, when I walked away from it, I was like, maybe it's just me. Then I went on like this sort of trail of just reading and everybody had a different take on the movie. Like, no, it means this. No, it means this. And so I kind of went on a rabbit trail thinking it was sort of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, where I'm like, I'm projecting all of this on it, and then just over time, I read more about it, and things were clarified. And my sister watched it, and you know her, and she's like, "There's nothing to this movie. It's just vapid mess. It's so vapid that anybody can project anything that they want to it." And that's kind of what killed my defense of it. There are still things I like about the movie, though. I like the production design. I like the costuming. I like the opening, the way they do the credits. So there's still things to appreciate about it. I have a hot take. People might get mad at me for saying this. I don't think Ryan Gosling even deserves a nomination. He was very funny. Yes, he has done such better work than this. And it is interesting though, that he's like one of the few people that they chose to nominate though. But I frankly don't think that any of the acting in the movie was Oscar worthy. So they are throwing it a bone, I think, alone by giving it those nominations.
That's possible, and they might give it to Devine Randolph for the Holdovers if that one sweeps. But if what you're saying is true, I mean, but who knows? Like I said, Emily Blunt really deserves it from the movies
Yeah.
I saw on the list, but we'll see.
Yeah, and for best for best actor, I think it's really between what's his name, Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy. I haven't seen The Holdovers yet. Everyone keeps saying that it's a great movie.
What? Go watch it.
I haven't gotten a chance to see it. I'm sure I'll take your word for it that it's a great performance. Right now,
Right.
I am rooting for Cillian Murphy because I was blown away by his performance in Oppenheimer. And what I really love about Oppenheimer is how all of the actors really captured like the cadence of the speech back then without making it feel like a parody.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that he just like the way he would walk, the way he would talk, it was just excellent. And that was probably the best performance I saw all last year, in my opinion. That's why also I've been a Cillian Murphy fan since Inception and Scarecrow from Batman Begins. And so I really am glad that he's getting that acknowledgement.
Yeah, I agree. He's a fantastic actor, and if it's between those two, I would be happy with either one of them. I just do hope Paul Giamatti is the winner. I think he deserves it. He did and like I said, I think he should have won for Love and Mercy and for Cinderella Man, but definitely for that. Someone in the chat said Poor Things. Poor Things is just an adult film that is sad, so I don't think it should win. It's like that. People always like, Jacob, do you like Lars von Trier? No, all he makes is pornography. Sorry, I don't. All he does is make adult films.
Careful, Jacob, you'll get us banned.
All he does is make adult films and then makes them sad. That's I'm not. I don't. I don't know why that should win anything.
With that. I want for my best, like the best actor award. I would say I'm going with Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon.
I've not seen that one yet, which I'm surprised I didn't see it because I'm a big Martin Scorsese fan, except for The Irishman. That movie's terrible. But
I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen all of it because it was 3 hours long. And here's, like I was telling you the other day, because you asked me if I'd seen certain films. I am really, really behind on my media consumption. I started Killers of the Flower Moon, and I'm like, oh, it's 3 hours. I'll come back and watch it later, and then I never did. And so, like, that's how a lot of things. Today, I was running late because I was trying to watch Sofia Coppola's Priscilla that I've been trying to watch for the last 3 months. And I finally sat down and I had 15 minutes left. And I'm like, I got to go on the Oscar stream now. I'm still behind on all of this stuff. There are a lot of films actually that people were saying might be Oscar contenders. Like Priscilla was one of them. The Iron Claw was it the Iron Claw or the Iron Fist?
Iron Claw.
Iron Claw. I wanted to see that movie, and people said it was really good, but that did.
A lot of people said they felt like it got snubbed.
Yeah, the trailer looked great. Like, I know nothing about wrestling, but the trailer made me interested into this family drama. And so, I think Jimmy Kimmel is finally done with his monologue. He's been just talking forever. It's been 14 minutes.
Jeez. Can barely standing for his 2-minute monologue on his show.
Okay.
In case everyone's wondering, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's a terrible comedian. He hasn't been funny since The Man Show, so we'll just get that out of the way.
Yeah, I thought he was incredibly unfunny last year. But I feel like they keep getting him because they can't get anyone else to host the Oscars. Because it's become, I don't know, it's just become kind of a...
Hey, if they got Ricky Gervais or JP Sears or Chrissy Marr, people would actually watch the Oscars.
Yeah. I'm just watching because they're about to do Best Supporting Actress.
All right.
They've got all the former Best Supporting Actress winners coming on stage now.
Why? They didn't win this year.
Well, they always have them present.
So, okay.
Lupita
I didn't realize that's what they did. Wow, that shows how much I pay attention.
Yeah, every year they have the people who won before present to the next person. So Jamie Lee Curtis is presenting.
Okay. That's funny. I didn't get that was the pattern.
Yeah. Like, I think Ke Huy Quan is going to support Best Supporting Actor because he won last year.
Yeah, someone who actually deserved an Oscar win.
Yeah. I remember everyone was shocked last year that Jamie Lee Curtis won.
I was shocked. I wasn't expecting
it. I thought that was the one person who was off the table. I'm not saying anything against her. I was just surprised.
Yeah, same. I can't remember who else was nominated, but there was someone else, and I thought, oh, this person's going to get it. And then she won it, and I was like, whoa.
I remember Angela Bassett was like crestfallen that she didn't win, but she should have known she wasn't going to win because she was nominated for a Marvel film, and they were not going to not let Marvel win for anything in that kind of category.
Yeah, they couldn't even let Marvel win Best Popular Moment or whatever it was. Yeah, they had to give that to
Snyder Bros took advantage of that.
Yeah, they did. That's true. They rigged it.
Okay, I think this person, in order to bypass copyright, is also making it go slower. So this might be a little bit of a lag, but otherwise, I think we've got it. Okay, they're sort of like talking up all of the actresses' performances. So they're giving them like a big talk up before they present who actually wins.
Makes sense. Let's see.
What was I about to say? Oh, people are noting that Margot Robbie has been wearing like pink Barbie dresses throughout the entire Barbie campaign and award season, but then tonight she just wore a plain black dress.
Oh man, that's not a good sign. She doesn't think they're gonna win.
She was Margot Robbie. Like, none of this will be said out loud, but Margot Robbie has really, really wanted to win an Oscar for a long time. Like, she was campaigning hard for Babylon, being like, oh, this is the hardest I've ever worked on anything ever, and then didn't even get nominated. And then she was really, she was like, oh, I didn't even think Barbie would get any nominations whatsoever. And I'm like, that is a lie, because before they were like, oh, we want to make a Barbie, a movie that can be Oscars and mainstream. And I'm like, now you're coming to Oscar season and you're like, oh, I never thought we were going to get awards. I'm like, that is the exact opposite of what they were doing with this. So
if she should have won for any film, it was I, Tonya.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Oh, Divine Joy Randolph. They won for the Holdovers. Yes.
Yeah, mine has a lag, so I didn't see that. They're about to announce.
Sorry, I'm someone's live tweeting it, and that's what I'm following.
Yeah, I'm
They,
following this live stream that's like a 5-second lag.
all right.
Good
Well,
for her.
yeah, good for her.
I would have liked Emily Blunt, but I haven't seen the Holdovers, so I can't say that she doesn't deserve it.
I think again, I think that Emily Blunt should have won it. But if I was to pick someone else, I would pick Divine Randolph just
Mhm.
because of how good the Holdovers is.
Yeah.
She's a good actress. She does a good. I think that's only her second movie. I think too. She's not really that well known of an actress, so good for her. I think she's mainly been a TV actress.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought there's no way that America Ferrera and what's talked about a little bit behind the scenes with Barbie is that the problem is her character was not developed in the entire film, and the big speech about womanhood, as it were, was not developed up to that point whatsoever. And so it's like this doesn't. This just feels like the writer, the actual writer, Greta Gerwig, venting to the audience her own frustrations. It doesn't feel like it's actually coming from this character. So it's like it feels like the only reason why America Ferrera got nominated is because they felt like, well, we have to like give this movie flowers for the idea of what it was doing or something.
Right.
But it's not actually an Oscar-winning performance or anything. And so that's why I'm like, and I've already seen that the Academy does not appear to like Barbie.
Well, yeah.
That's the impression that I've gotten. So I'm like, she's not going to win. It's either going to be Emily Blunt or Divine Joy Randolph.
They don't like anything that the audience likes or anything that's super niche.
Yeah.
So
Or like,
otherwise, The Dark Knight should have won. The Dark Knight should have swept.
well, what I was thinking earlier is it's crazy how the Oscars are always like they pretty much just like dramas, like just dramas. Like if you're like somebody did a meme and it was like the Oscars might care about the comedies a little bit, but if you're horror, it's nothing. It's like horror is absolutely nothing. Even though some of the best movies I've ever watched are horror movies.
Horror's not really my jam. I actually heard because they were saying they were going to get rid of gendered categories at some point. They had talked about bringing back genre awards to fill in the gaps because otherwise the Oscars will be like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to do that. So like best comedy, best action adventure, best sci-fi, but I don't think they're going to do that ever.
Yeah, it's a little the Oscars frustrate me, and I don't think that you need to have like genre things broken down by genre. Just allow those other films to be up for awards, because it's just like the movie isn't a legitimate movie. And this is my problem with like people like Todd Phillips saying that we're trying to make a real movie under the guise of a comic book movie. I don't like this idea of like certain movies are real and other movies are not. And like a good example, I know you hate this movie, but I'm just going to use it as an example. Logan. I know you hate it.
First woke comic book movie, but continue.
Anyway, but it's a movie that is really gritty and dramatic. And like, I mean, throughout the entire, like we could go to The Dark Knight, and just throughout the entire superhero boom, we had that's what I call it now, the superhero boom. If for like from Iron Man in 2008, even though you can argue it started sooner than that, to I'm going to say 2019. Well, I mean, there were leftovers from it, like No Way Home and Guardians 3. But just when it became like everything superhero, we just got so many different mixings of genres with things that are superhero. And it's like you can be making a horror film or an action movie or a comedy and still have it be like really artistic and layered and all that stuff. Like the genre of Disney just copyright claimed my Oscars watching. So I'm going back to the other one. Oh no, Disney. Oh no, you can't watch the Oscars, so they say. Disney caught us. I think they're on a commercial break right now, but like genre doesn't matter. Like I used to say, oh, I hate romantic comedies. And then I watched some good romantic comedies, and it's like genre doesn't matter about how the story is written, but people associate certain tropes with certain genres and stereotype them. And then they just kind of look down with them.
Yeah, it's true. It is weird how they do that, because I remember if you look at the Western boom, a lot of Westerns were nominated, but very few won. Think about John Wayne. He didn't win an Oscar until he did True Grit. And really, he should have won for The Stagecoach. He should have won for The Shootist, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It should have swept the Oscars. Fantastic movie. But those, for some reason, if the audience likes it, the Academy tends to go, we're above all that. And sometimes, I always say, I tend to side more with the audience, but every once in a while I'll disagree. Like what was that movie about the woman who owned the old folks home and she was just trapping people there so she could get their pension? I Care a Lot, I think is what it's called. I thought that movie was great. But if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes, critically did really well, and then the audience score was very low. So every once in a while I switch. But it is interesting watching that. Same with musicals. Musicals didn't win really that big until later. Like Sound of Music won, I think, didn't it? But
yeah,
a lot of others didn't.
I just, as you were talking, I just got some news about what's going to be happening in the new X-Men comics and who's going to be writing what. And I was like, what? What? And I'm like,
oh no, don't tell me they hired Tom King.
They didn't hire Tom King. Hello, Green Entertainment. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Can I not click this? And yeah, I can. Here we go. Hey, comrades, have you guys seen most of the Best Picture noms? I will unfortunately say not this year because, and part of the problem is that, and this happened to me last year, is when a movie comes out on rental, it's like $29 or $25 to $29 just to rent it. And I'm like, I can't afford to rent all these movies. So I wait, hopefully, for them to get on a streaming service that I might happen to have. And I had a 2-month trial of Apple TV Plus. And so I started Killers of the Flower Moon, and then I got busy, and then I never finished Killers of the Flower Moon. So I am just super, super behind on all of my media watching and all of that. So unfortunately, I have to say I have not watched most of the Best Picture nominees. I haven't even watched The Holdovers yet. And I don't even know if that one is available to rent on lower price yet. But Jacob, thank you so much for the $5 super chat though. Jacob, could you explain to me why The Holdovers is such a great movie? Because I've heard good things about it.
It is I should warn you, it's a very slow moving drama. So if you go into it expecting quick pace, it's not like that. It takes its time. But what really carries that movie is the story behind it is this teacher who the reason it's called The Holdovers is this teacher. He gets stuck during the holidays watching the students who get left behind, the holdovers. And one of the students is a student he hates. Well, then the other students get rescued by one of the dads, and he takes them all on a vacation. And so he's stuck with just this one kid. And it's kind of like they start to empathize with each other because the student hates the teacher because he thinks that, oh, he's just a stuffed shirt. He's this very intellectual guy. He thinks I'm stupid. And the teacher hates the kid because he thinks he's lazy. He's a lazy, entitled jerk. I almost said a bad word, a jerk. And then it's like they bond over their, because they both had rough pasts, and it's like they bond over that over time. And that's what carries it. Is it takes its time. It's very subtle. It's not in your face. There's no grandizing speeches. And there is a really good twist at the end. It's the same guy who did, now I'm going to forget. He's done 2 other Paul Giamatti movies, but fantastic movie. I loved it. The acting is amazing in it. Again, Paul Giamatti steals the show. The kid the young guy who plays the student, he is great in it. It was his first ever movie, by the way. It's his feature film debut, and he did amazing in it. Apparently the director, he saw him on a stage and was like, I want him for the Holdovers. And he recruited him right away without even an audition, I think. So just really, really great film all the way around.
Yeah, I always like watching. I mean, you can have great actors come from everywhere, but especially I find I really like when you have stage actors with stage training and I went to an acting class once, and they said that the reason why stage actors tend to be like the highest caliber of actors is because on stage there's no room to mess up, and there's and you have to project yourself from a stage, and so there's like no way to hide your performance, because on films with editing and all that, you can have an actor who isn't very good, but then they coax you for like 10 takes and they finally get something out of you. With a stage performance, there's no room to mess up, so you have to get to a certain level where you can project your voice and all of that. So that's why stage actors tend to be like the highest caliber of actors. Not always, but a lot of stage actors, a lot of great actors have background in stage. So
well, just 1 second. We have an announcement for Best Animated Short.
Okay, go ahead.
It goes to War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko. I actually didn't see that one.
I didn't. I was rooting for like Once Upon a Studio, because I actually thought that was with all the negativity towards Disney lately, I thought that was a really well done short for them to do.
Actually, it occurs to me, I didn't see any of these shorts. Normally I'm up on all the shorts, but interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't throw Disney a bone on that one.
Yeah, I can see well, right now it seems like everyone is angry with Disney for whatever their individual reasons. So, but of course the Oscars are put on by Disney, which is funny.
ABC.
It's funny. One year, like they had to cut categories. I think you'll remember this happened. They had to cut categories that were going to air, but they had to air Best Makeup and Hairstyling because Cruella was nominated, and Disney was like, well, that's showcasing our film, so you have to air that. But they cut short the documentaries that they weren't associated with. So that was a little bit of a sleazy move by Disney.
Yeah, and Cruella did not deserve that nomination. So you didn't a Deadpool knockoff, basically.
Okay, so we better. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we better prepare ourselves because it's animated feature film next.
All right.
I haven't seen The Boy and the Heron. I like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Wearing my Studio Ghibli shirt.
We know what you're rooting for. What was I about to say? But my rose-tinted glasses have come off for Across the Spider-Verse. I still like the movie, but it's not as perfect as I thought it was going to be. I think we've got Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy presenting.
My problem with Across the Spider-Verse is Into the Spider-Verse, you could cheer for Miles. He's kind of this underdog character and everything. Across the Spider-Verse, now he's going into other people's dimensions, and it's like and all of a sudden he's special there too. And I'm like, why is he special? The animation is great. And also they ruined Miguel O'Hara. That is not how he's like in the comic books. And it drove me nuts. Same with Scarlet Spider, freaking annoying me. But anyway, I was like, why is he special? Like, so he's chasing this bad guy from his world. But why does he get to break the rules and no one else does? I hate movies like that just because there's no reason for it. I got to have a motivation to root for him, because otherwise he just comes off as incredibly selfish, which he does. He's going to let the Indian Spider-Man's home explode just because he wants to prevent a canon event and everything, which was an insult to the fans, by the way, because we all care about canon. So,
well, I just think that all of that was a little bit of a mess, because I like the idea that the reason why like it's a Miles Morales Spider-Man other than a Peter Parker Spider-Man or something like that is like the idea that he wasn't meant to be Spider-Man, and it was because of like the multiverse meddling shenanigans that he became the Spider-Man. So I think they have something there. My problem was when if you have a universe where these are the characters and these are the rules, and they're like and they put me actually on the side of Miles about the universe, and he's questioning, do I have to let my own father die because of this? And then they're pointing like Peter Parker against him, and I just don't like Peter Parker's portrayal in that movie, where he's kind of like, because say what you will about him, he was a guy who had kind of backslidden a little bit into the Spider-Verse, but he still had like a lot of knowledge as a mentor, and like he came into his, like he built himself back up, and he was a mentor for Miles. And then in this movie I felt like he's just the wishy-washy pushover dad character.
Yeah, they did everything they could to emasculate him, put him in a pink robe and everything. But also there are other Spider-Men who aren't Peter Parker. There's Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. They could have done something where he connects to them, because they feel out of place. We're not Peter Parker either. And that could have been a connection point with those characters, but instead they just used it.
Okay, we have a winner for Best Animated Feature.
What do we got?
Boy and the Heron.
Yes.
we
Yes.
got an anime win.
Go Miyazaki. I don't think an anime film has won since Spirited Away. So, and that was a Miyazaki film too. So,
Well, I'll give it a cheer. I want
yes.
to see it. This is another one of those movies that I want to see. It wasn't playing in my theater, actually. Otherwise, I would have seen it when it came out. But
that is,
there we
yeah,
go.
that was, yeah, Spirited Away was Hayao Miyazaki. They're both Studio Ghibli films. Fantastic. Oh man, that I'm very excited about that.
I'm happy for that because I think that Into the Spider-Verse, I think, is infinitely better than Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, still like it, but it is definitely a flawed movie. The pacing, like that's another problem of the movie that people talk about. Like it was really redundant. It would have similar scenes play after each other. So it just, I think, here's the problem with those filmmakers, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, is they are really good at making first films. They did the Lego movie. They did A Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. They did Mitchell versus the Machines. They did Into the Spider-Verse. They'll like do a first movie and absolutely hit it out of the park with it. And then, of course, because the movie is successful, they'll get a sequel and then they'll fumble it. I don't think that they had as bad of a fumble with Across the Spider-Verse. I think it was just a little subpar. But with like Lego Movie 2 was terrible. It was nothing like the first one. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, haven't seen it, but all my friends told me don't watch it. It's terrible.
It's just it's just a lame kids movie.
Yeah, they just have a really, it's like they only know how to do first films and they really struggle with sequels. And I think that they did struggle with Across the Spider-Verse because it took so long for them to write the script. What the animators of Across the Spider-Verse were saying is that they overworked us, but not because we didn't have enough time. We would have had enough time if they weren't just messing around with the story constantly. We had plenty of time to work on this animation, and then they didn't communicate with them. And then by the time they had them start the animation, then they had lost so much time and they had to crunch all this work. And they were like animating things like right up to that movie's release.
Yeah, and there seems to be this chain of events that's happening in animation studios because they were saying in Japan, MAPPA, which does Jujutsu Kaisen, was being and Vinland Saga Season 2, they were being accused of not only overworking them, but underpaying them. And so it's I wonder what's going on in animation right now. I guess because people are begging, especially for a return to 2D animation. And right now, Japan is the only one doing that. So I'm really excited that The Boy and the Heron won. This was Miyazaki's. It's so funny. He came out of retirement to do this film, and apparently he just did it, didn't tell anyone, and then said, "Oh, by the way, I'm releasing a new film," and it broke the box office at Japan, which needed a win, and then they got another one with Godzilla -1. But I'm very excited that he won. Hayao Miyazaki is probably one of the best directors of as far as animation is concerned of all time. So I'm really happy for him. He deserves to win. And also Japan needed a win, especially after the death of Akira Toriyama. Rest in peace. And I'm really excited for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so far the Oscars seem to be doing good. At least
Emily Blunt didn't win.
but it was somebody who wasn't like a bad, like I would have wanted Emily Blunt to win, but I'm not like upset that somebody else got it. Next is original screenplay. Let me see who are the nominees. Best original screenplay.
Oh, I got it. Anatomy of the Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro. Isn't that a biopic? May in December, which is not a good movie, and Past Lives.
Okay, I am sorry, I haven't watched any of these. I wanted to watch Anatomy of a Fall. I thought I had that in my queue to watch.
I've only seen May, December, and The Holdovers. May in December is a terrible film. I do not know how that got nominated.
Yeah, I was hearing a lot of people say it wasn't good.
Yeah, I read my review. It's very nasty. Just the content in it. It's well acted, I guess, except for Julianne Moore, who can't decide if she wants a lisp or not in the movie. But
yeah, I'm not the biggest Natalie Portman fan, to be honest.
Oh, really? I thought she did okay but not as good as her other roles. But I do see what you're saying.
I'm actually going to go to your blog right now and look up your May December. So I can know.
You can't read it out loud. It'll get you banned on YouTube.
Okay, I will not do that.
Not because of my foul language, but because of the content of the movie.
Well, that's funny. What do you guys know of Maestro? I don't think is
I
it a
didn't
biopic?
watch it.
I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. This is like, I am so sorry. I feel so lame right now, guys. I was just telling Jacob the other day, I am really behind on my media consumption. Oh, my media consumption. And that's why I am not up to date on these things. That's why there's so many movies I haven't watched. Out of original screenplay, I'm just going to say The Holdovers because everyone keeps saying that that's what should win, and people I trust say it's good. So
What's really funny is normally on Best Picture list, I only see one of the movies. You and I this happened to me last year. I only saw one of the nominees. This year, I've actually seen two, Oppenheimer and The Holdovers. I did want to see The Killers of the Flower Moon, but unfortunately, I just never got around to it. Like I said, I'm a big Martin Scorsese fan. So
knowing your sensibilities, I know you would absolutely despise Barbie, but like you don't have to watch it. It's kind of I feel like all of the hype around Barbie has just dissipated, though, to be honest, as someone who's followed it. Because what really sold the film was, well, I mean, this sells any film, but the marketing of it, like this was like pink on steroids, and it really like the only way you can describe this, because I was hearing men, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about men. I'm just like I was just seeing so many men be like, "What's with this hype around Barbie? Like, I don't understand. Like, who is this for?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not for men." Because men didn't grow up playing with Barbie. And I'm like, but if you have, then you understand what they're going for. Like the whole idea, it was the whole vibe of being like a 6-year-old girl again, where all you care about is playing with dolls and dressing up and all of
oh
that
yeah.
stuff.
My sister
And
knows someone who got a van and took all of her friends to go see it.
yeah,
I think it was something like 10 of them. They invited my sister. She didn't end up going, but she said like one of her best friends just was calling, "Hey, I'm going to go see Barbie. Let's all go. Let's pile in to my van. I'll go see it together." So
yeah, that's what it was. And like, that's, I mean, in America,
and
that's like
speaking, oh, sorry.
that's like a connective experience. Like I was a tomboy growing up. Like I would play, like me and my brother would make these elaborate like Lord of the Rings style battles. I remember, like, fond memory. I'll just go off on a tangent. One time I constructed a surprise attack on my brother, and he was mad about me for it for a long time. Anyway, but I still would play with Barbie, and that's like it's like everyone who's been a little girl has ever played with a Barbie has had that experience, and that movie tapped into that marketing, that sort of nostalgic marketing. Especially, it was really
Oh
playing
yeah.
off of like 80s and 90s Barbies and those toys. And so that's really what got it. But that's why it was so hyped up, and so many people were trying to project on like these meanings onto the movie, because they wanted it to be a movie with like this deep meaning. But then if you read interviews with Greta Gerwig, and this is what killed it for me, like it's like a person was going through an existential crisis, and they came to a conclusion about life, but it's not a conclusion that makes sense. It's just the result of someone overthinking things. And like that's the result. And it's like for a long time in interviews, people were like, "Oh, Ken's supposed to be the villain," and I'm like, "Well, no, he's supposed to be sympathetic." And then it's like, because Greta Gerwig has kind of said both things behind the scenes. Like, I'm like, so you could present an argument and say, well, this is what someone said behind the scenes, but another person could say, but this is also what was said behind the scenes. And I'm like, I don't know if this person even understands what they're saying themselves.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like there was some holdover from the original Barbie script, because remember, a different actress was attached to it. What's her name? I can't think. One of the
Amy
comedian,
Schumer.
Amy Schumer, was attached to it, and she actually helped write the original script. And when Greta Gerwig got a hold of it, she made a lot of changes. But some people think that maybe the holdover, no pun intended, from that script went into Greta's script. Like, she just used it to kind of fill in gaps. And that's why it was so messy, because Amy Schumer wanted it to be a whole full-on third wave communist feminist diatribe. And Greta Gerwig knew that wasn't the audience. So she at least tried to change it. And it ended up accidentally being multi-layered. I heard Midnight's Edge did a really good breakdown of the movie, and they basically said they think that's what happened. Just the mix-up of the scripts really messed with the message of the movie.
My opinion of it, like from what I've read, is I have not heard that they kept any bit of Amy Schumer. I think that a lot of people don't consider Mattel's intentions with the movie. They've been trying to get this movie off the ground for a long time. And Mattel has always wanted their Barbie film, for whatever reason, to be a thing to address the criticisms against the doll and basically rebrand their image. And like, I don't think that they should be doing that. And even like going off of like recently, by the way, we just got Best Original Screenplay announced. It was an Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh, okay. Congratulations. I've never seen it, so I can't say if it was good. I still think The Holdovers should have won, but good for Anatomy of the Fall or of a Fall.
People are mad online about Holdovers losing. But let's see. People are happy about The Boy and the Heron. Sorry, we're talking so much, but I was just saying, I just think it's silly that Mattel was like, we need to have this Barbie movie, our first Barbie movie that we know is going to make a lot of money, be all about the criticisms against the doll in a way. And but like, even just recently, Margot Robbie had a book released about all of her fashions because everyone was saying she looks just like Barbie. Isn't it crazy that she's able to like put on these clothes that are like adult size versions of Barbie dolls and look like that? And that's what a lot of what drove the marketing. So the marketing was all about what Barbie is and the fashions and the attractiveness. And I'm like, so you're marketing your movie with the things you think are a problem that need to be addressed. And I think that's ridiculous. And once again, Greta Gerwig is like just really wishy-washy on that because there's evidence in the movie like for and against that. Like the movie kind of comes against the classic image of Barbie and goes forward at the same time. And in interviews, Greta Gerwig is just like, well, you know, what you are in life, it just needs to be whatever decision you come from. You're to find your own validation. Like there's no one pathway to it. It's just whatever a person decides for themselves. And I'm like, okay.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but we have Best Adapted Screenplay win, American Fiction.
I heard that was really good. I have not seen it. I'm sorry. I heard somebody.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I've not seen it either. But I am a big fan of the star of it, Jeffrey Wright. He and I actually got into a tiff on Twitter one time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I had to apologize to him because I misrepresented what he said accidentally, but I did apologize to him about that. But so good for good for them. I would have preferred Oppenheimer to win. I'm just glad Poor Things didn't win at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Oppenheimer, I wasn't expecting it to win screenplay. I am fully expecting Christopher Nolan to still win Best Director and Best Picture because that's been the way that the award shows were trending. If not, I will be very, very angry.
They could throw you a curveball win with Best Picture like they did with Coda. Like I was glad Coda beat out some of the competition because Coda was in my opinion, I'm just saying I was surprised they threw everyone a curveball. I would have preferred it to win over some of the other nominees, but I was just surprised that it won because it had some really stiff competition there. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I think the only thing that's certain right now is that the Academy is not into Barbie to me, and that I think
that's two now, right? That it was nominated for that it lost.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to win anything other than like production design, and I think it'll win Best Original Song for sure because that's what it's been winning, and it is a good song. I like the song.
You don't think it'll win Best Makeup and Hairstyling or
costume? It might win that. I might win some of those categories. Like I could
the ones
see
nobody care about.
Yeah, because some of the I think there's a chance Poor Things. Honestly, I'm not saying I want Poor Things to win. I'm just saying that there's a chance I could see that winning in those categories. I think Barbie should win in those categories though because
fair enough.
Those were the elements that made me enjoy the film because it made it you know, it's kind of like whenever I see someone do cosplay or even like really, really good cosplay of like the Disney animated characters, they don't look like the characters. They look like people just doing cosplay. It's really hard to make real people look like dolls and animated characters. What just took me aback with Barbie is it looked exactly like the dolls. It looked exactly like the toys. And so that's why I just think that like the production design and the costuming deserves it. It is not it's nominated for production design and costuming, but not makeup and hairstyling, and that's a bit ridiculous to me.
That's crazy. What's the next category?
Let me see. Next category. We just went through Screenplay, makeup and hairstyling, which Barbie, like, Oppenheimer's also nominated. I don't know why Barbie is not nominated for makeup and hairstyling, but Oppenheimer is.
I liked Society of the Snow. I do not know why that movie is nominated in Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Which movie? Sorry.
Society of the Snow. If it gets one of those technical awards, it should be Best Cinematography, but it's not nominated there. I've seen Society of the Snow. Fantastic film. It's a tearjerker. But Best Makeup and Hairstyling does not make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But just being honest.
They're just having Billie Eilish perform What Was I Made For right now.
Oh, good. So dinner break, I guess.
Dinner break. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something, Jacob.
Okay.
Quick story. I need to have you back on for an X-Men stream, and let me tell you what's been happening in my town. So there's a couple antique stores downtown from where I live. And for a while, one of them has had a sign in the store that said comics sold here. And I went in there once last year and they didn't have anything good. And so I'm like, well, why would I go in there again? But I was just on my way home from there and I looked, and I'm like, I'll pop in there and see. They had bins and bins and bins and boxes upon boxes of comics, and not bad comics. It was like 90s X-Men comics by Jim Lee.
That's a gold mine. Holy cow.
I was like, what? And I reached into one because there was a comic with Rogue. It was like the first time her origin was told in comics that I couldn't find anywhere on eBay. And I'm like, wonder what they have. This literally happened. I reached into the box, pulled out a comic, and it was the one I've been looking for. And I was like, what? And
That's
so
really cool.
for the past like 3-4 weeks, we've periodically gone back to the store, and like I just saw these tables and tables laid out with comics, like classic 90s Jim Lee X-Men comics, the very era that I had been reading and wanting to collect from. And it's like buy one for $4, buy 5 for $3, stuff like that. So it's like great price. And so, and I look below me like, oh, how am I going to get through all these? I got to get home. And then I look below me, and on the floor is even more boxes upon boxes of these comics. So me, Kelly, and Michael have been going back to the store periodically to buy these comics. And I have a lot of funny stories to tell you about it. But the other day we were back and just picking up another haul. And Kelly was like, well, let's stop by this antique bookstore on the way home. And it also had a sign in the window that said comics. And I had looked in there before and they had nothing. And we looked in there and we walk in and there's like nothing in there. And I'm like, yeah, this place is a bust. And then my eyes took on the tables were even more comics. And these ones were like 80s Chris Claremont X-Men comics, like classic 80s. Like I have one here. This is right after Rogue.
Oh, look at that cover. That's amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't get, like, these were like classic issues. They were like $6 to $10 each, so more, but that is an amazing price for like there were ones
for
like
that era. That's a good price.
This was like 80s Chris Claremont X-Men comics, just boxes upon boxes of these comics, and they have like classic issues in there. The only ones they don't have is, like, for example, they have the issue where Storm gets turned into a child. They don't have the following issue. That's the first appearance of Gambit. I'm sure that's going, I know that issue goes for like $500, so I'm sure the guys sell it. But apparently what happened is, and this is like even more of a crazy coincidence, because we're asking the guy who owns this store, like, where are all these comics coming from? And he's like, this guy in Fremont, California, his comic store went out of business, and he had like 100,000 comics that he's been giving out to these stores. And we realized this store in Fremont he's talking about is a comic store we used to go to before 2020, before it had to shut down. But so he's been sending all of his comics to our town. And so that's why we have like 2 stores now that is like a gold mine of these classic, like, Chris Claremont X-Men comics. And I like, the embarrassing thing for me though is that I put on an X-Men shirt that I got for my birthday because I thought we were going to go collect comics that day. So I walk into this stranger's antique store with an X-Men shirt on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, X-Men comics. I'm like, I must have looked like a total fool just walking in there with my X-Men shirt and be like, oh golly gosh, gee, comics. So, but I got some good ones. But I didn't want to blow my wallet any more than I already had. But we have to go back there. They had, because I know that they're going to try to, they had Storm Life Death, which was a story that I've just been reading about, and I just reached it out and I'm like, wow, these are like classic storylines, and so I was just shocked. But we need to do another X-Men stream where we're talking about all these stories I've read. For my birthday, my sister got me the appearance where Rogue first joins the X-Men. She got the original copy of that for me.
Oh, nice.
So we need to have another X-Men stream to just talk about all of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sorry, went off on a big tangent there because we had a song performance and
a commercial break.
So that's all good.
No, yeah, nothing wrong with that. It is kind of interesting because how you can just find something like when I've always tried to find the Batman annual for my birth year, which is 1988. And one of the reasons I was looking for it so hard was one of my favorite Batman. Well, he actually worked on The Punisher. He wrote 3 Batman stories. A guy named Mike Baron, who also co-created created Nexus, and another indie superhero called Badger. And he wrote 3 Batman stories, and one of them was on the annual on my birth year, 1988. And I just randomly found it one day at a comic book shop in Reading where I went to Bible school. It was just sitting there, and the guy, he had it for like $20. And I was like, I'll take that one. Because, that's the Silver Age is kind of considered the high point of Batman, because that's when Batman kind of left the cheesiness of the 60s behind, was in 70s, 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So that was really cool that I was able to stumble upon that one.
Yeah, it's crazy how many issues I've found in there. Kelly was about to check out because she was going to buy all of them, and then we just Venmo her the money. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And then I'm like, I'm just going to check out this box under here just to see if I can see anything, just to look. Pulled out another one I wanted. I'm like, oh, another one I've been looking for. And I had to go put it on. It's like, there's so much. And I don't know how many other comic collectors there are where I live, or if they even know that that's there. So it's like our own poor personal gold mine of comics right now. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody. We're just waiting for the Oscars to come back on. Let me see. For whatever reason, Regal just put up a picture of Margot Robbie crying. I don't know why they would do that. Like, I think that they were doing it because of the What Was I Made For, saying, oh, isn't this a wonderful song? It made them look like she's upset that she didn't get nominated or something.
That's so funny. You follow more so Margot Robbie than I do. I feel like her star is kind of starting to wane a little bit. So I remember for a while when Amanda Seyfried was in everything, you couldn't escape her, and then it's like she kind of just sort of faded away. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence
was in everything. I agree with that. And here's her problem, and I've said this on my channel before and gotten into controversy of it. The problem is Margot Robbie is one of those actresses or actors or actresses who unintentionally plays themselves and everything. I'm not meaning she's literally just bring her own experience. Like Robert Downey Jr. unabashedly, except for like Oppenheimer, he admits it. He plays himself in every film. So I'm not saying you can't do that. The problem with Margot Robbie is she takes a lot of different roles, but it's like you always see her in that. It's like even with I, Tonya, I thought that was a very entertaining movie. But like if you compare the real life Tonya Harding to Margot Robbie and what she did in that film, she did not have either the facial structure or the voice or any of that. I just saw Margot Robbie, and since it was a story dealing with an abusive family, I saw Harley Quinn, honestly, in Tonya Harding. And like,
really, I actually think that's the one where she did the best acting of the movies I've seen with her.
But just to give other examples, for Babylon, the movie she was really hyping herself up on, she did pretty much the exact same thing we'd seen her do as Harley Quinn. And then for Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she was pretty much just playing herself. And like, I think that's the big problem with her, is that I don't think that she's actually a very dynamic actress. And I think the problem is like she's been pushing herself a lot for years, and I don't think that people are really getting that much out of her. Like Emily Blunt, for example. I just think Emily Blunt's a fantastic actress. And I also think part of the problem with Margot Robbie is that so much of her branding was based on her looks. Like she's done everything she can to get away from that, but it's almost like her face is just so striking that it's difficult to cast her in a lot of different roles. Like that was one of my problems with I, Tanya, is she like buried herself in uglifying makeup. And I'm like, I'm not buying that this is an organic performance from someone who's come from like this, you know, trailer trash life or anything. It just looks like an actress who is burying herself in makeup to try to be different.
Oh,
So I think that's part of the problem with Margot Robbie is like it's almost like she's so striking that you can't buy her in any sort of lower level role. But also I think that it's that she's not actually that dynamic an actress. It's kind of like if you've seen once you've seen enough Margot Robbie films, it's like at this point in her career anyway, it's like you've already seen what she can do, and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. Go ahead.
and speaking of makeup, we have the winner, and it is
Oh,
Poor Things.
I knew that was going to happen.
Boo.
I knew,
I,
boo. I knew
well,
that was going to happen.
maybe that's a good sign. They're giving it a technical award so it can say it won something, but then maybe they won't give it anything else.
Yeah. Oh well, at least I don't expect it to win like Best Picture, Best Director, or anything like that.
No.
But next, because right now we're into like all the technical awards. Next is going to be production design. I wouldn't be surprised if Poor Things won that, but I think Barbie should. The thing is, I just really think the Academy does not like Barbie, so I'm wondering if it's even going to get production design.
We'll see it. Which is production design. I'm trying to see. I've only seen Oppenheimer on this list, so I don't know enough to say. Oh, I think this one should win. Why is Napoleon on here? I guess because is it just because of the sets in the they're trying to make it look because of Napoleonic? I actually heard Napoleon wasn't that good.
Yeah,
like for one thing. Yeah, I heard for one that Joaquin Phoenix was too old to play him. Napoleon was only in his 20s when he began his first campaign, and Joaquin Phoenix, as talented as an actor as he is, he's definitely not in his 20s.
Yeah.
And I also heard they made him like kind of over emotional, and Napoleon was known for being.
What I
very
heard
stoic.
is that he was just really all over the place in his performance, which makes me a little nervous for what they're going to do with the Joker sequel, honestly, because this
Joker is all over the place, though. Let's be.
Well, I know that, but I can't remember. Beau is Afraid. That movie was getting panned last year. And so I was just wondering, because Joaquin Phoenix has had like multiple films now that people have not really understood what he was doing.
Yeah, I felt like that way with Am I Still Here? Is that the one about the guy where a senator hires him to rescue his daughter?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I can't remember if it's Am I Really Here or something like that. It's that movie was weird, but it worked with his all over the wall style that he does. I hear Al Pacino's like that, like he's very all over the wall, and they just have to film him when he's cogent for the 6 minutes stand that he is.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing about Margot Robbie before we move on. But what made me like lose all my respect for her, essentially, I'm not saying that she isn't entertaining. Like, I thought she was well cast as Barbie, because I'm like, she literally is Barbie. I thought that she played that character what it's supposed to be. And so I'll praise her in that role. But like, she did an interview, and it didn't go viral or anything, but she did an interview explaining exactly why she made Birds of Prey. And she was like, well, I signed on to play Harley Quinn. I didn't really know anything about the character. I read about the character. I didn't like, I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, she didn't like certain things about the character. Namely, she didn't understand why Harley is interested in the Joker, and she didn't like it. She didn't like doing any of that stuff. So she went to a Comic-Con in 2015, and she finally realized how popular the character was. And so she's like, I want to get ahead of this and make her into something that I feel more comfortable playing. And so that's why she was advocating for Birds of Prey to get made, and then it got made and it bombed. And I'm like, if you're not comfortable with playing a character, one, you should be researching before you sign a contract or something. Two, you shouldn't sign a contract and then try to change it from within. You should decide beforehand if you're comfortable with playing the character. And like, that's, I mean, if you have another example, let me know. But that's the first time where somebody has played a major comic book character. I mean, I guess you could say The Rock with Black Adam, but it's one of the biggest things I've heard of where someone got to play like a major character and just wanted to change them from within. And I'm just like, how egotistical do
Well,
you have to be?
and also Harley Quinn has nothing to do with the Birds of Prey. Any
Yeah,
comic book fan, until recently, but any comic book fan, I even have a comic that it's called Joker Last Laugh, that where Batman has to work with the Birds of Prey to stop the Joker. Harley Quinn isn't even in it, and this is long after she was introduced in the comics. But
yeah,
anyway, we have another announcement.
yeah. Best Poor Things, best production design.
Again, boo.
I knew it was going to win that. They're just like, it's what I said. They just really do not like Barbie. It's not going to. I mean, maybe it'll win like best original song, but they just really do not like Barbie.
What's next?
I think it might be best costuming because we're going to like all the technical categories.
All right, so we got Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
It'll probably be Poor Things again. Honestly, we see how this is
You
going.
think so? It might.
It
I wonder
should
why
be
it's winning
Barbie.
all these technical awards.
I don't know. Barbie
Weird.
really is just surprising me that it's not winning any of this stuff.
I will say, like I said, I haven't seen Barbie yet, but just from the marketing, I think it probably should be the winner in this category, best
Yeah.
costume design.
Hello, Cameron Ryder, 64.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Yeah, you were on last time I was on. Hi,
Yeah, he
Kamen
comes
Rider.
on a lot.
Sure.
So after we get through these technical categories, then we go
They
to
go through
best.
these fast.
Yeah, we go to best international feature film, actor in a supporting role, and visual effects. I want Godzilla -1 to win visual effects.
Mhm. Oh, Poor Things, best costume design. It just
I
won.
thought so. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Academy. Look. I don't like that Poor Things is winning, but it just goes to show, from my perspective, the Academy does not like Barbie. And I was hearing from behind the scenes that apparently, like, for all of the way that they tried to hype Barbie up behind the scenes, that it's like an important feminist message, and that it's like one of the most important films of all time. It's a cultural moment, is what they kept saying. I heard that the people behind the scenes, like in Hollywood, just see it as another IP based cash grab. Like, it's just they see it as one big toy commercial, and that's why it's not getting any awards.
I know that's why I didn't. That's why I always say I'm a little the first Suicide Squad, where Will Smith was really poorly cast as Deadshot. I always say I give that movie a little bit more credit because I felt like it was a toy commercial.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't care whatever the director says, he was supporting the movie until it was unpopular for him not to. So that was all on him. What's next after best costume design?
It's international feature film, I believe.
Okay, so why isn't Godzilla -1 on this?
So
Japan submitted
apparently,
Perfect Days.
if for a foreign film, they're only allowed to pick one film for them to promote, and so the Japanese chose that film instead of Godzilla -1.
That was so
So
dumb.
that's what's happening.
So I haven't seen these, but from what I
If
understand, Zone of Interest should probably win, and Society. But I think Society of the Snow should win based on the ones that I've seen. So,
John
Society of the
Cena
Snow.
is on stage naked at the
What?
Oscars.
Are you
He just went
serious?
on stage naked.
Oh my gosh! Is Will Smith about to slap him?
Probably. He says costumes are so important. Okay, it's a bit. I
Of course
didn't
it
mean to
is.
interrupt you.
Oh no, no worries. I'm just saying I think Society of the Snow should win. It would. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. The only international film I've seen recently is Godzilla -1, and I loved that so much. That's why I wanted it to win.
I hope it does because it's nominated for best visual effects. But man, a lot of those I don't know that one is the best visual effects nominees. Man, well, I know we'll talk about that more later. I don't know who's going to win that one. It seems so freaking random.
I think that it's probably going to be Godzilla -1. I think they're going to give
You
it
think
to
so?
that. We'll see. We'll see. That I would be so happy if it wins.
They said that they did the visuals, the special effects with half the budget of a Hollywood film. That's
Yeah.
amazing to me. Just goes to show you how much Warner Brothers and Disney are wasting their money on all of these blue and green screens.
Well,
Man.
it's funny because with me watching films, it used to be I would watch an older film, like say a Star Wars prequel, and I would go like, "Oh wow, those visual effects I used to think are great look terrible now because all of the stuff we were getting each year was progressing and getting better." Now it's like I go back and watch a film from 5 years ago, and I go, "Wow, the visual effects were great. What happened?"
Well,
It
I
just
even oh, go ahead.
go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Well, I
No,
was just gonna
go
say,
ahead.
I remember when Avatar came out and everyone was like blabbing about how great the visuals were, and then but then I was like, Transformers came out the year before, and say what you want to about that movie, just as a storytelling, as a narrative, because Michael Bay clearly didn't watch any Transformers before he made that movie, but the special effects look more realistic to me than Avatar.
Yeah.
The robot designs look more alien than they do, like say in the animated series. But it's still pretty shocking to me. Um, yeah, I see your list, John Henry. Those Sound of Freedom, Guardian, that was never going to get nominated by the Academy. Nefarious either. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised Air didn't get a nod here
Oh yeah,
because
they were really hyping it up in the beginning of the year.
yeah, because again, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Harvey Weinstein, best buddies. They keep trying to redeem them, and which Air is a good movie. I was also happy to see Chris Tucker back. He kind of had he kind of got in my opinion, he got cheated. I think he's a really funny actor, so it was glad to see him back in Air. And Air is a genuinely good movie. That's why it was on my top 10 list. I'm surprised it didn't do well. So how much I know though. The only year my top 10 got like almost matched others was the year of the lockdown. That one was that I was surprised because normally my list, everyone's like, where did you see these other movies? Because I always at least have one anime. That year it was Jujutsu Kaisen 0, and I was surprised because I found two best of lists that had Jujutsu Kaisen 0 on it. I was like, wow, that's how desperate people are to find good movies.
Let me see. I'm just trying to. I think we're on a commercial.
Oh, John Cena is trending now on Twitter.
Yeah, because he went out naked, and I guess anything for views, you know.
Did you hear the announcement about Peacemaker season 2?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm not.
Season one is canon to the old DCEU, the Snyderverse, but season 2 is going to be canon to the DCU. That's so freaking confusing. At least change the name.
This is what I feared about getting James Gunn on board with DC, because I'm like, he's just gonna do everything to his preferences, his personal fan preferences.
He should have just come out and said, Flashpoint reset everything. We're going to have some of the same actors, but some of them are going to be different. That's what we're going with. That's what he should have said. Flashpoint gave him a perfect out, but James Gunn didn't do it. No, yeah, exactly. They, other than mock Snyder fans by putting George Clooney as Batman instead of Ben Affleck.
I was just like, don't even say that you're keeping some actors. I'm like, I don't care. Just reset everything. Like, fresh start, because there's just way too much damage. But he's got to keep things that he personally likes. He did like when people were asking him for a long time, is Margot Robbie going to stay as Harley Quinn? And he wrote a paragraph about it where he could have just said, we haven't made any plans for the character, so I haven't had to make a decision. I'm like, you could have just said that. He's like, I haven't talked to her about I haven't talked to her about it for a while. She could stay on playing the character. She could stay on playing a different character, or she could do this, or maybe I haven't decided that we're going to have another person in the role. There's no one locked into the role yet. And it's like, it's a long spiel. He's like, I personally have not seen anyone else in that role right now, and that I have no plans for anyone else to play the character. And I'm like, it's like a long mental gymnastics. You could have just said, I haven't had to make a decision. Like, I am not a James Gunn fan right now, because
no, me neither. All he does is lie. He even lied about the name of his Superman movie. Oh my gosh, this guy can't stop freaking lying.
Well, here's the funny thing. I know you don't like I have to bring up Grace Randolph because she got entangled with this controversy with James Gunn. But this wasn't just her. So a lot of leakers, not just her, but a lot of leakers were saying that
She steals from other leakers, by the way.
yeah,
Continue.
a lot of leakers were saying that the Superman movie is going to be about a conflict in the Middle East. And James Gunn came out and said, no, that's not what's happened. That's a complete lie. And the leakers were saying, but that is what we heard. So everyone took James Gunn at his word because he's the director. So months later, an actor who was Middle Eastern claimed that he was fired off of the role. And so in order to clear up this new controversy because of this actor making that accusation, James Gunn came out and said, no, I didn't fire him. We rewrote the script from a conflict in the Middle East, and therefore we had to get rid of his character. So he had to inadvertently reveal that he had lied about that being the script he was working with, and he painted himself in a corner where like the actual first party news outlets had to report, yeah, the original script of Superman would have been a conflict in the Middle East, after James Gunn lied that was not happening. So it's like, dude, we know you're lying. Like, some of us have seen this from the beginning, but now you've kind of confirmed it for everyone else. You just lie constantly.
Yeah. But to be fair, so does Grace Randolph. Like,
Yeah.
she's the one who started that whole controversy about Pedro Pascal throwing hissy fits on the Mandalorian, which everyone, and to be fair, a lot of people signal boosted it because we were all mad at Disney because of what happened with Gina Carano, but including myself. But then it all turned out it was none of what she said was true. I actually heard that she was the one who also started the rumors about Robert Pattinson refusing to bulk up for the Batman, that his stunt double is actually the one in all of the stuff. And after seeing the movie, I don't believe that. Now, I don't know if that's true because I don't think she actually reported on it, but I had heard that she was mad because Matt Reeves wouldn't give her an interview or something. So
Yeah.
she had done a little whispering campaign. I don't know if that's true. That's what some people are saying. But yeah, what was the other thing she said? Oh yeah, the multiverse of madness, that Marvel was doing screen testings for it. Marvel was trying to prevent leaks, so there was no way they were doing screen testing for that film. Everyone knew this. So and then she found some random Twitter account which she probably created. He said, I just got out of the screen test, the famous, y'all ain't ready for this.
Yeah.
So people were just making up movies. Oh yeah, I just saw the screen testing for Justice League versus Avengers. You ain't ready for this. I had a lot of fun with that. She blocked me after I called her out for her lies about Pedro Pascal.
Called me out. She blocked me because she said something about she was talking about George Clooney appearing at the end of Batman, but she was saying that he was going to be the new Batman, like going into the James Gunn universe. And I'm like, there is no way that is true. But because I called her out for that, she blocked me.
No one believes that. But we do have Best International Feature Film.
Okay.
We've got Zone of Interest.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm not sad about that. I think that's a good pick. I've heard that that's a really fantastic film.
Oh my goodness!
I still think
someone just showed me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if it wasn't going to be the Society of the Snow, I'm glad it was that movie.
Somebody just showed me a fried red velvet cake on Twitter, and so that looked gross, and so I was taken aback for a minute.
That's great. All right, what's the next category we got going? Just did international.
Here's some news. Is this true? Because I wasn't paying attention to Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. This says he was kicked off of the ceremonies because he have Hardy Cripps making jokes about everything from Robert Downey Jr.'s legendary drug troubles to Greta Gerwig's snub. So it looks like Jimmy Kimmel has been kicked away.
Let's see. Kicked out. I'm not seeing that being reported. Let's see. Has he not come back on stage?
I don't think so.
Oh, dang.
Wow. I would not make jokes about Robert Downey's past issues with drugs. I'm just saying I think that's in bad taste.
Yeah. And everyone's wondering why he's not getting his contract renewed. Let's see. I'm not seeing that anyone is reporting that, but he just hasn't been back on stage, so people are thinking
Yeah.
he's gone.
Well,
Who decides that though? Like just a bunch of guys with cigars.
I guess.
Damn.
Let me see.
Oh, is that maybe that's why they sent John Cena out there naked to
Yeah,
distract?
he was a presenter. Let me see. I think actor in a supporting role is coming next. I'm rooting for Robert Downey Jr.
Best for it's Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. He does not deserve that. Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction. Yeah, I'm with you. I would like to see Robert Downey Jr. win this one.
Okay, let's see. Must be another break because it's been a while. Oh, there, Jimmy Kimmel's come back. I don't know where that.
Oh, okay. So then probably not. Then probably not true. Maybe they just said, "Hey, don't joke about that."
Yeah.
Why is
they're performing a song thing from Killers of the Flower Moon, so that's why we're not getting any updates. Let me see if I can, because Disney's been going around taking down all the streams. So let me see if I can find one. Okay, here we go. They're about to announce. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling are on the stage, putting aside the Barbenheimer stuff.
Oh, what if one of them? What if Ryan Gosling wins?
That'd be awkward.
I don't think that would be awkward. Let's see. Da-na-na-na. What do we got?
Ryan Gosling did make a good joke about Oppenheimer. He's like, you know why it's called Barbenheimer? And he's like, because you guys were riding Barbie's coattails all summer.
That's pretty good. Have you heard Steve Carell's speech about Ryan Gosling?
No, I did not.
Apparently, when they were doing what was the movie they were in together? Yeah, he said that one day he's like, I'm gonna go out and get a drink. You want to come with me? And Ryan Gosling's like, oh no, I'm gonna go to an old folks home and sing for them. and he goes, wait, oh wow, who's gonna be your manager for? Oh, no one. I'm just gonna go. So like he had no press, anything. He just went to entertain some old folks. And so Steve Carell was like, I hate Ryan Gosling because he made me look like a chump. And he's just going to entertain some old folks just because he's a nice guy. So he presented him an award for somewhere. I can't remember what it was for, but it's really funny.
I think we just had Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling just did a bit, and so now when we come back from this break, we're getting an ad for his Fall Guy movie.
Fall Guy. I'm trying to remember if I saw the trailer for that. I can't remember. I tell you what, I want to see Right Red Hand. That I'm actually stoked for that movie.
They're showing me an ad with aliens and stuff like that. And James Bond and whatnot.
Wait, James Bond? Did they announce a new James Bond?
No, they're not doing that. They're just showing a montage of stunts.
Oh, I see.
I think because we're getting into visual effects. Did I get it wrong? Did we not do?
Yeah, we haven't done visual effects yet, or film editing.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're just like saluting the stunt performers, but there should be an Oscar for stunts.
Yeah, I agree. They should do best stunts. I don't know why.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with what I'm seeing.
No,
I don't
fine.
interrupt you all the time.
No. It's your show. You can interrupt me as much as you want.
Yeah, I just got taken down for copyright. Basically, they were just giving a salute to stunt performers, and I think that they should just give them Oscars.
I agree. They should do best stunt team.
Okay. Oscars live. Come on, guys.
Who is, like I said, who is next? I'm trying to
It's a
remember.
supporting actor.
Oh, it is. Okay, it is supporting actor. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Disney has once again taken down all of the ways to stream. So unfortunately, Disney does not like me pirating their own stream. Okay.
I'm happy to see a lot, at least as far as the fashion. So far, I haven't seen anything that I thought looked off the wall. Everyone seems to, the fashion actually
Yeah,
seems kind of nice.
everyone's got some classy fashion.
Yeah. Okay, Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things.
I think it's going to be Robert. Come on, it's his time.
Yeah. Hasn't he won before?
No, he was nominated actually alongside Heath Ledger in 2008, and Heath Ledger won.
That's right.
Let's see.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he should have won for Chaplin. That was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was when he was nominated but didn't win.
Okay, they must be. Let me see. I'm trying to see what they're doing. Let me type in Oscars.
I'm keeping up with it on Twitter because they're doing it as soon as they announce it. So,
Making sure I didn't lose any super chats or anything as we were talking. I don't think I did. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, we got 38 people watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, we got.
you ought to see if you can find a watch party where people are watching it.
I'll check that out.
Trying to find.
So I think Popcorn Planet might have it.
Popcorn Planet. Kimmel is back. So he was not kicked out.
Let me see.
Oh, Film Threat is doing a live stream as well. So is Society Reviews.
Okay. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know why we're not getting to Best Supporting Actor.
Well, Jimmy's back on the stage, so he's going to mug for a minute.
He's going to monologue for like 14 minutes. So he was not kicked out of the thing.
Apparently, there's a rumor going around that Chris Rock was banned this year.
Well, we know that Will Smith has been banned for like 10 years.
Well, I thought, didn't he get back in though? Because he did one of his newest movie did really well at the Dubai Film Fest or something. So that won him some good grace.
I haven't heard that.
Okay.
I am still wondering if your theory is correct that it was basically a ploy to get people to watch the Oscars. It went wrong. It was not received the way they thought, and so Will Smith had to take the fall anyway.
I honestly think so. That's why I think we're going to hear that. Honestly, think we're going to hear soon. Oh, all is forgiven. They're going to do a. They're going to do a thing where he's he's back, and it's like, oh yeah, all is forgiven, blah blah blah. You know,
Well,
that
especially
sort of
since
thing.
Jada Pinkett Smith was like, we haven't actually even lived together in like 10 years or something.
Yeah,
That whole thing was just so strange.
yeah, I agree. I wonder what's it is so weird because it must be like a Caesar Milan situation because he stayed with his wife who was like stealing all of his money for years, and then she just shows up one day. Okay, I'm leaving you, and that was that.
Hmm.
So I wonder why he sticks around or why she sticks around.
Okay, so I'm as I'm waiting, I'm doing something. So I'm writing a story, and I need to see a nervous system for it. And I just saw something for a fully intact nervous system. So I'm like, it's gross, but I have to bookmark it because I have to keep it in mind.
That's great.
Let me see. Boy, I don't know what's happening right now and why we're not going back to that.
Apparently, he's still on the stage.
Well, YouTube keeps taking down or Disney keeps taking down all of the streams from YouTube. Let me see. Oh, my latest video finally crossed 11,000. Thank you guys. My rant, as it were.
Some weird things will happen on my channel where I'll do a video and I'll think, oh, that one didn't get very well because it'll even have like less than 100 views, and then 3 days later it'll just explode, and I'm like, what the heck? Like that happened. I did a video about Dakota Johnson talking about mentioning how she thinks the audience is smart, but the studio heads think that they're dumb. I did like a reaction to that. And again, it got less than 100 views its first day. And then I checked this morning and it's over 1,000. I was like,
wow,
who just decided to share this video?
That's amazing. I've got to say, like, I gained respect for all of the cast of Madam Web because they knew they made a bad film and they just kind of owned it and dogged on it the entire press tour. And, usually if you, for example, Zachary Levi was like in tears over the fact that people didn't go see Shazam Fury of the Gods. But the Madam Webcast was the first time I saw like a cast of a bad movie just kind of own the fact that it was a bad movie. So I gained a lot of respect for them, actually, especially since it seems like they were tricked into it, because it seemed like Sony convinced them that they were a part of an MCU film, and then they had just gotten tricked into this weird Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I can't win. We have an announcement. Best Supporting Actor, Robert Downey Jr.
Yes! Oh, I'm so happy about this. Yes! I wanted him to win so bad.
Congratulations, his first Oscar win. Robert Downey Jr., who should have won it for the first Iron Man and a plethora of other movies.
Yes, he finally won. That makes me so happy. I would be happier if this was unexpected, but I thought he was going to win.
That is wow. Congratulations, Robert Downey Jr.
Yes. This bodes well for Oppenheimer.
Definitely. I think that's a good sign. I agree with you.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
RDJ's first Oscar.
Man, wow. That's fantastic. I mean, I didn't see the first Iron Man in theaters. We got it on DVD when it came out. By we, I mean my family. And I was blown away. It's what introduced me to the MCU when it was still good, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. I got to see other films with him. My wife and I, when we were first married, we watched through Ally McBeal, where he's a character in the 3rd season and does a fantastic job. He actually does better than Callista Flockhart in that, despite it being her show. Fantastic performance. That was actually his second arrest. He was in season 3, and then he had to leave because he got arrested again. In hindsight, maybe it worked out because that's how he ended up in Iron Man. was
Yeah.
after that arrest. So
Yeah, maybe now
good for him.
he won't be so negative on Marvel now because he's won something and he's achieved something right after that. There was more to his career than Iron Man. I mean, I get it if you've played a character for like 10 years and like I was thinking about the other day, if you're signed on to a major franchise like that as a major character, like the amount of like not just filming but and the press, but how much time you're spending on the input of your character, because Robert Downey Jr. would do a lot of input with the writers on where his character should go. So that's going to take up a lot of your life. So I can understand why someone might grow like weary of it all.
Yeah, I agree. And also like you were saying, a lot of his other projects haven't really taken off. Like Perry Mason isn't that great. Doolittle was horrible from what I hear. I've never watched. I heard it was just boring. He refused. He and Jude Law and Guy Ritchie can't get in a room long enough to do Sherlock Holmes 3. So, it's I honestly think if he had done Sherlock Holmes 3 right after the MCU, after Avengers Endgame, I honestly think that would have done better for him. But for whatever reason, they because he keeps saying, "Oh, we're still doing it, and they haven't done it. But I'm really happy for him because, like you said, his role was minimal in Oppenheimer compared to some of the other actors, but he was fantastic in it. He did a good job as Strauss. So I'm very happy for him. He has earned this just by sheer force of will.
Apparently in his speech, and I'm going to have to watch it on YouTube later, his speech, he says, "I am an Oscar winner."
So, good for him.
So he's bringing back the Iron Man. So good for him.
Good for him. Congratulations.
Awesome stuff. He deserves it after all this time. Some of the most people were talking about how Stanley Kubrick himself never won an Oscar. So some directors and actors who are some of the most famous have never even won Oscars.
Yeah, or they won one for an odd one. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, I think is a fantastic actor, but he won for Revenant. Why? He should have won for other movies, but not for Revenant. That makes that movie that made no sense. That wasn't that good of a movie, and also incredibly historical inaccurate.
I think the next one is visual effects. So
yeah, I think you're right.
I'm up for Godzilla -1.
Yes, I'm rooting for Godzilla -1. I haven't seen Mission Impossible Why is Napoleon on here? They just fire a few cannons in it, right?
I don't know. Sometimes here's what I was hearing is the most of the Academy voters are actors. And so that's why I feel like when they award actors, they get it right. But in like every other technical category, they get it wrong because they don't understand them. There's been many videos about how the Oscars never know what to do when nominating for editing because they don't understand editing. They just pick a movie that seemed to have a lot of editing in it and they award that. And because they don't understand it. But I think that's why like Oscars still do well with like the actors because they're voted for by actors.
I guess I think that's still hit and miss though. I kind of have see if the Academy Awards, if they weren't trying to make it like this big spectacle, I could have but they were even doing this with the Screen Actors Guild. Why do I care about the Screen Actors Guild? It's a bunch of union guys rewarding themselves. And same with the Academy Awards, but they have to make it like this giant spectacle. Oh, look at us. And my buddy, I'm voting for you, man. I'm voting for you. Like that's high school stuff. I'm not saying we shouldn't have the Academy Awards, but if we're going to make a spectacle of it, you have to include the audience in it. I was reading somewhere it's the same with the People's Choice Award. When that first started, they did that based on audience reactions. Well, ever since E bought it, they don't do it like that anymore. Now it's all the professionals. We're going to all the professionals. We're going to the critics. We're going to them. And it's not really the People's Choice anymore. So
yeah, ridiculous. I think that I completely lost my train of thought right there. I think that they tried to include the audience in it again by having that audience cheer moment thing. The problem is the way they conducted it solely online. It was back when the Snyder bots were going and everything just became about Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Yep, and we couldn't get the Marvel guys because really Spider-Man No Way Home should have won that. I was
Yeah,
in that theater. I heard people cheer, especially when Tobey Maguire appeared on the screen,
yeah,
and that was they cheered for Andrew Garfield too. By the way, I personally I think the Garfield Spider-Man films, and this is going to be controversial, so you can clip this if you need to. I'm kidding. I think his movies are overhated and underrated.
I agree
Um,
with you. Do you
Oh,
believe it or not?
nice.
I agree with you.
The where they went wrong with those movies, and spoiler alerts if you haven't seen them, is they killed off Gwen Stacy too soon. Every writer knows you don't kill off a main character until the third film. You always kill off side characters. That's just a rule of writing, unless you do it incredibly well. That was the problem with those films. But anyway,
um,
overhated and underrated.
as we're waiting for best
Visual
visual
effects.
effects. What was I about to say? I keep forgetting
I
everything
have
about.
no
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
I cannot read your
Speaking of
mind.
speaking of audience cheer moments, like what is a moment like what's your experience in a theater when things got the most crazy? Because when
Hmm.
I went to Infinity War opening night, I've never had an experience with this. It's like our theater was screen one, and our theater was packed to the brim with Marvel nerds, like the diehard Marvel nerds in cosplay and t-shirts, and they packed us into that theater. And every time that a character would come on screen or a big event would happen, it was like, yeah! It was like just people just lose. It was like being at a football game, and that was my best theater experience. But like the energy in that room was just so crazy. Even in Endgame, there was not that kind of energy in the room. But
See,
what?
I disagree. I saw more energy in Endgame. But that could have just been the theaters I went to. The first cheer was when you realize the Falcon is back, and he says to Steve, "On your left."
Yeah.
That was a big one. But then the audience went nuts when we finally got to hear Avengers Assemble. That
Oh,
was they lost their ever loving mind, me included. I was right there with them.
well, the biggest
Top
I
Gun
think.
Maverick, people cheered at the end. They cheered when Val Kilmer appeared, and then this is kind of niche, but when I went and saw Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, they cheered when they cheered after Goku fought Beerus. That was the audience. My wife and I both went and saw that one. That got a big cheer. People, I'm trying to think of another one where I remember. Oh, a lot of people don't want to hear this. People cheered Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith when Darth Vader's breath came online. Everyone likes to hate the prequels now, thanks to that rando YouTube channel. But when I remember Star Wars prequels, when Darth Vader's breath started, his breathing machine, my butt was in that theater. People cheered for that. So another great cheer moment.
Well, I don't know. Like, did the audience go crazy in your theater in Endgame? Because this is probably the
Yeah, they
high
did. They lost their ever loving minds in Endgame.
when Cap gets the hammer.
Yes.
Because I remember that happened, and I like nearly jumped out of my seat when that happened. Like, I thought that my audience in Endgame compared to how they were in Infinity War was tame by comparison. Like, they clapped, but they weren't like cheering, getting really excited. But then when Cap got the hammer, it was like, everyone was like flying out of their seats.
They cheered, but it wasn't as big as when he said Avengers Assemble. That
Godzilla -1.
Oh,
Yes!
one best special effects. Yes. All right.
I lost my mind right then. I'm gonna just.
Yes, that's fantastic. Godzilla -1 definitely deserved that. That's great. Congratulations to that film.
Awesome.
Film editing is next.
I'm
I
gonna
hope Poor Things does
that.
You think Oppenheimer? I really hope it's not Poor Things.
I'm rooting for Oppenheimer. I think that
I'm rooting for Oppenheimer as well. That it definitely deserved that. One of my, I think it should win for the scene when they test the spoiler alert for everyone, when they test the bomb and they're all cheering because they did it right. They set off the bomb. they're all cheering, but the music that is playing is very somber. So it's like, oh my gosh, they just gave us the power to kill ourselves, basically. And it was that scene when, especially with Oppenheimer's walking around and everyone's cheering and applauding and the music is somber. That was one of the most well-directed scenes I've ever seen, hands down.
That is such a good, like Oppenheimer, like that was the best movie I saw for 2024, honestly. Like if I said like personal, what I find the most entertaining, I would say Godzilla -1. But like in terms of mastery in filmmaking, I would say Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I would say Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1, and then The Boy and the Heron were my top 3 films last year.
That's so awesome for Godzilla -1 won an Oscar for having competent VFX. I think we just forget. I think we just forget, like, we have the technology to do that, and we don't need a lot of people. Like 5-6 years ago, there's better VFX in the Avengers from 2012 than I've been seeing in movies today from 12 years ago now.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous how much we've regressed.
Yeah, I was thinking that I rewatched through the MCU because I was on an MCU vidcast series or live stream panel for a while where we were going through each one, and rewatching them, I was like, man, some of these special effects still hold up, almost 15 years later. That's amazing. Probably Incredible Hulk is an exception. Those special effects are still a little wonky, but everyone else,
Apparently,
still a good movie though.
Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. said at his acceptance speech, "I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy."
Up next, we have both documentary, short, and feature. I didn't see any of these.
We haven't done film editing yet.
Oh, film editing is next. Sorry. Apologies.
So we still have to see what one's that.
You're right. I haven't seen any of the documentaries on here. None of them. I like to watch niche documentaries, so
yeah. Film editing, the documentaries, and then we get to cinematography, and I want Oppenheimer to win cinematography, best cinematography. Saw last year. It also should win sound, by the way, and original score. And then Barbie can win original song. I think it will. And then actor in a leading role, Oppenheimer, directing Oppenheimer. Actress in a leading role, I honestly think they're going to give it to Emma Stone at this point. We'll see, though. We'll see. Best picture should be Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
so we've got we're like halfway through it, I think.
Yeah, they're going. This one feels faster.
Well, it should, because like just do it. Like the stuff in between isn't entertaining, or at least it hasn't been in a long time.
Yeah, it's. I always wonder why they don't bring in like real people. I was mentioning this earlier, like with the entertainment. Like I remember when Seth MacFarlane hosted. I think that was 2012, right? I watched that show because one of my favorite movies.
Sorry, Oppenheimer wins best film editing. Oppenheimer.
Yes! Congratulations, Oppenheimer.
I did not mean to interrupt you. I did not.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Nice, excellent,
awesome. That's what I wanted. Oppenheimer sweep. I'm rooting for it for the rest of the show.
The hands down, the way to go.
Peace means having a bigger stick than the other guy, says somebody as a quote for Tony Stark for Robert Downey Jr.'s win.
Like I said, I haven't seen any of these documentaries.
I guess we'll just have to talk for a little bit because I'm not familiar with the documentaries.
With well, like I was saying, in 2012, that was the last time I watched it where I thought it was genuinely entertaining. I think that was the year the artist one, right? Was that 2012? I
think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think there were I think what was probably the worst received Oscars performance, it was either, I think it was the 2021 one, or it was either 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2022 with the Will Smith slap. But I remember reading a comment from someone, because there were so many like anti-Oscars videos after that. There was a comment from someone who said that their grandfather used to work for the Oscars very recently, and that it's basically just a bunch of totally clueless, out of touch people behind the scenes who don't know how to put on a show. And I'm like, well, that sounds plausible.
Well, you think about like when Bob Hope was hosting it, because I'm a nerd. I have gone back and watched some of those,
Oh, I've done that as
and
well, so don't feel bad.
they made it like I said, I'm not crazy about all these award shows just because I think the industry is so sick, but you just look about how they tried to make it uh just this amazing thing that you wanted to watch. Or even when Billy Crystal hosted it, remember he did the whole, I think he, on the year that the Titanic was nominated, which it should not have won a single one of the awards it did except for best sound, he came in, he rode onto the stage on a boat. Like,
Well, there were other,
boom.
like, prior Oscar shows. There was one where uh, King Kong was nominated for something, so they had a massive King Kong hand come out to hand in the envelope. And there was another one where they had Angela Lansbury did an entire tap dance number to open the show. So they used to understand how to make it entertaining.
Yeah,
But
I don't know what it is now.
now it's like industry inside, it's like inside jokes for the industry. Like,
Right.
that's what the opening monologue is. It's self-deprecating inside jokes.
Yeah, we'll throw the viewers a couple of laughs, but this is really, which, by the way, I'm not. I think if you deserve to win, I'm happy for you. Like with Oppenheimer just now, but it is a sad state of affairs with even someone like us who are into cinema. We've seen. What did I say? I've only seen 2 of the movies in the Best Picture list. I mean, that ought to tell you just how out of touch they are.
Yeah,
I
these
remember,
aren't any of the films that regular people would watch. And I'm not
right,
saying that that makes them all bad. I'm just saying that they're
sure,
not in people's spheres.
right. If this is really about artistic merit, then I don't think the Academy Awards should be this big spectacle. They should do it in a private event and hand it out. But if you're going to want to do something and put ads in it, you've got to do something where you can't just ignore superhero films or musicals or westerns like we were talking about earlier, or I was talking about earlier. You've got to make the show worth the audience's time. So the that's what I think, being the ruffian that I am.
Well, it's hard because, like, sometimes I'll watch some of these indie films that most people haven't seen that get awarded, and I'm like, well, that is an excellent film. Like, but at the same time, I can watch a movie like, I thought Top Gun Maverick deserved Best Picture.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely,
easy.
having watched like indie films, and, like, I mean, there's a lot of people romanticize the past, I think, a little too much, and make it like, oh, before it was all the movies would be mainstream and now they're all niche. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
no,
not true.
there are a ton of Oscar movies that you have never heard of again that got Best Picture. Like, most of
Oh
the
yeah,
Best Picture.
Crash. That's a great. There is no Crash. I've seen Crash. Crash should not have won anything. What a
Yeah,
terrible movie.
but there's been a
But
lot of that in the
Best
past.
Picture.
But, like, what you need, you just need a balance where, of course, you're going to
Mhm.
award the more obscure films if they deserve it, but just don't be hesitant to award, like, the mainstream films as well. The problem with the Oscars is, like, they have a phobia for the mainstream films. It's like Top Gun Maverick can't win because it's too mainstream. Barbie, like, I don't think Barbie deserves it, but I'm just saying that the reason why the Academy is apparently rejecting that is it's too mainstream.
Mhm.
Oppenheimer kind of rode the middle ground, and, like, Nolan is so respected in the industry. I think that they're just
Right.
saying this is his time, where we're going to give him all that. Same with Robert Downey Jr. Because, even if they deserve it, you have to play the politics of the Academy, and they with some people it's just their turn to win, and so that's where it became obvious that Oppenheimer's going to sweep things.
Well, and I think that's why Leonardo DiCaprio won for Revenant. And they were just like, okay, he actually deserved it for X film, but we should give it to him now. So it's his turn. And like I
Yeah.
said, Leonardo DiCaprio is a fantastic actor. So, but he should not have won for Revenant.
Mhm.
That I know that's like my one example I keep
Well,
harping
he
on. I'm
was
sure I can think of others if I think about it.
Well, he
But
was chasing that Oscar for years in so
oh, he
many
was.
films, like The Departed, Wolf of Wall Street, all of that. He was just chasing
Mhm.
the Oscar, and they wouldn't give it to him. So I feel like for The Revenant, they were like, okay, this guy won't leave us alone. He's been advocating for this for years. Let's give it to him.
Yeah. It's true. I
Okay,
remember. Oh, do we have a best
I
documentary?
don't think so. I think that
No,
I
not
don't
yet.
see anything. I don't see
Yeah,
anything.
not yet. It
Well, I
is
remember
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
I remember last year, it's like it felt like it was going really fast, and then it really slowed down for some reason. So I hope that doesn't happen again tonight.
Yeah, the with it is interesting because like Golden Globes, even though I despise the Golden Globes, I don't think foreign press should even be a thought in the American movie industry, but they do run it a little bit sleeker
Hmm.
as far as that goes. The only time the Golden Globes was interesting is when they had Ricky Gervais host.
Hmm.
Man, could you imagine him hosting the Oscars? That would be
That'd
fantastic.
be funny. Well,
Oh yeah.
they actually awarded him like best comedy special for at the Golden Globes this year, and
Oh,
I'm
did
like,
they?
are you guys trying to kiss up to him to try to get him back or what?
Who knows? I remember I saw an interview with him after that, and Kate Blanchett was there, and she was one of the people they highlighted when he did the JE joke.
Hmm.
And she was trying to play it off was, oh, I was just surprised that he went there. I didn't hate the joke. I was just shocked by it. And because, he's right there sitting next to her, right? So
Yeah.
that was I thought that was kind of funny. She's like, you said this joke about JE, and I just was so surprised. I just couldn't believe that someone that you told the joke. It was just so shocking. So that was kind of funny because you
Hmm.
didn't want to tell him to his face. Why did you make all those jokes? On television.
Oh yeah.
It was on the Graham Norton show. That's what it was where that interview happened.
Somebody wrote leaves Marvel wins an Oscar for Robert Downey Jr. Well, he kind of won because he got out of Marvel while he was ahead, and then
Mm.
just all the news coming out from Marvel. Like I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who played the villain in the Black Widow movie was talking about how mistreated he was on set, and like
Hmm.
I can't remember who it was who worked on Ant-Man, but they were saying about how the entire project of Ant-Man Quantumania was just a mess where
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have a
It was one
script.
of the visual effects guys. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, saying that they would get a new script page every day. They had no idea what they were doing. Like Marvel, that wing has just I don't know what happened like post Endgame that they just completely fell to pieces.
Hmm. I think there's this theory that Midnight's Edge again has promoted that they actually think Kevin Feige wasn't really in charge until the first Ant-Man. That Ike Perlmutter, who was a terrible Marvel CEO, I'm glad he's gone, and I can't think of the other guy's name, and then Jon Favreau, they were actually in charge. And that's why it was so good was those three guys actually knew the properties, and Jon Favreau is very talented. But then when Disney took over, they just kept promoting Kevin Feige until he was actually over Marvel Studios, right? And then they told him he could do whatever he wanted. And then he's not actually that good of a manager because when he was at Fox doing the X-Men, they still had like an X-Men group to make sure that the movies were going along, which is why the first two are so good. But then three, of course, didn't work out that way. But I think that so he gets all of the credit for the MCU success, but none of the blame when it's starting to go down. Because I know that's why Victoria Alonso was fired, not him. Was he just blamed her for everything? So
Yeah, one of the things that I keep hearing from behind the scenes is that there is just so much managing though, and so many managers and so many executives. I don't
yeah,
know
too
if
many
we can
cooks in the
say
kitchen.
yeah, I don't know if we can say, okay, the problem is this person and this person has to go. The problem is this person. It's like you need a top to bottom overhaul of how they're doing things.
But that means you have to fire people, though. Oh, by the way, we have best documentary short film, The Last Repair Shop. Never saw it.
So I'm sorry about that, guys. We haven't watched the documentary stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I like to watch real niche documentaries. Whenever I see a documentary going to theaters, it actually makes me not want to watch it. Just being
Mhm.
honest. So next is best documentary feature.
Okay, let me see what we get after. Remind myself what we get after the documentary features. Um
Cinematography.
Good. And Oppenheimer should and will win. I will say that right now.
I think it should, and will as well.
Okay, and after that we have live action short film, sound, and original score. Well, I'm glad that they're grouping the things together, like they have the sounds in all one area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes it make more sense. Let's see. We're still waiting on best documentary feature. I noticed that is it BAFTA that does best ensemble film?
I think that's either. I know SAG does that.
Yeah, no one cares about them. I thought there was a mainstream one that does best ensemble. So I was like, how do you quantify that? Is it just because is it a list of so many A-listers?
Well, I think like just the best, like I, Tonya was got some best ensemble nominations in some categories, and I think that's just about how well the actors all together did as a group. I think it's not necessarily A-list, because I wouldn't say Sebastian Stan is A-list. He's very good, but he's not A-list.
Yeah, one thing you can say about Marvel is that it got a lot of TV actors into the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like Sebastian Stan, he was on Once Upon a Time. That was kind of, which he had been in movies before. I'm just saying he was more known as a TV actor. Same with the actress who plays Agent 13, Sharon Carter. She was mainly a TV. She had been on a long running TV show before she got picked up by Marvel.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair. Yeah, I can't do anything. Someone in the 90s, and it's showing Robert Downey Jr. in the 90s.
Someone's asking if the Oscars are on. Yes, it's on. I don't. In the chat, someone in the chat was asking. Yeah, it's live. We're halfway through it.
We went through a whole stumble in the beginning where I couldn't find a place to watch it, and then they banned it from YouTube. So that's where I'm at.
Congratulations, 20 Days and Mirapole won Best Documentary. Again, didn't see any of these on the list. So we are now going to one that I actually care about, Best Cinematography.
Okay, Oppenheimer should win. Let's go.
What's El Condi? I've never even heard of this film. Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and El Condi are nominated for Best Cinematography. Again, I think swap out Poor Things with Society of the Snow. That should have been nominated for Best Cinematography. But I still think Oppenheimer should win. It's an honor just to be nominated. Yeah, do we have?
Are you watching it? Are you able to? Are you watching it right now?
No. I'm following the Twitter account because the Twitter account is updating really fast. So whoever their Twitter team is doing a very good job.
What do you think Will Smith is up to? Well, I think he's not watching the Oscars right now. I hope he's okay, though. I kind of feel bad for him.
He just did an indie film that he helped finance.
Oh, he needs to get away from Jada somehow.
Yeah, he did an indie film that released in Europe, but not in America, or it hasn't been yet. I think, but it's going to come out this year, but they showed it at the Dubai Film Fest, which again, it was kind of funny. People were joking that the Dubai Film Fest was the island of lost toys because like Kevin Spacey and Johnny Depp were there too. But anyway, yeah, he's going to be his next film appearance. He's slated to be in Bad Boys, Ride or Die.
Well, he's still working.
Yeah, he's still working. So yeah, his Emancipation film didn't do very well. I actually liked King Richard. For some reason, it became popular. For some reason, it became popular to hate on it. But I actually thought it was a good film.
It only
I'm
became
glad. I
popular
mean,
to hate on it after Will Smith did the slap thing, because that's what he won. And everyone forget Will Smith won. He's Oscar winning Best Actor for Little Richard. It's just that was the night that he slapped his way off the stage.
yeah.
And no one remembers that he won the Oscar. Everyone just remembers that he slapped somebody.
Well, he went out on top at least.
And it became
That
a massive meme.
Let's see. They must be on a commercial break because they haven't updated.
I feel like it's just happening what happened last year. Is like it goes super fast and then it really slows down.
Yeah, well, as they start to get closer to director and best picture, I noticed it kind of goes. So that might be why.
Right now, the only category that we don't have, that I don't think we're going to be interested in, is live action short film, because I haven't seen any of them. But since we're on a break, let me read you the new team of writing X-Men, the comics. X-Men by Gail Simone and David Marquez.
How does that woman keep getting jobs? Everything she touched after Batgirl New 52, that was the last good thing she wrote. She has not done anything else that's that good ever.
Sentinels by Alex Pack Nadell. Haven't heard him. Young X by Eve Irwing. Cyclops by Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman. Phoenix by Stephanie Phillips. Stephanie Phillips is a horrible writer. I don't know why she's working. I had to review her comics for so long. Wolverine by Saladin Ahmad and Greg Capullo.
Whoa. Greg Capullo is a good artist, so that actually might be okay.
Mystique by Declan Shalvey.
They've retconned Mystique where she's basically a totally different person. I hate to say this because I honestly think, as much as I liked X-Men Days of Future Past, I think that casting Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique really messed that character up. Yeah, because they wanted to make her a hero because they had Jennifer Lawrence. Well, they should have just had Jennifer Lawrence play one of the X-Men. Yeah. But she was trendy then, and so she probably wanted to play a villain, but we'll see.
Well, it's funny because Jennifer Lawrence, not Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique is, I think, the best female comic book villain, in my opinion. She's just such a vicious character. She's such an evil character. And so interesting because of that. I don't know why the desperation. It's like whenever a female villain becomes popular, she needs to become a hero. We don't do this with male. Well, we sometimes do it with male characters. Like Loki, the more popular he became, the more heroic he needed to become. So,
well, think about Magneto. A lot of people forget, especially if you read Magneto's time as an Avengers villain, because for a while he wasn't in X-Men comics. For a while he was an Avengers villain, and he was a full-on villain. He was so evil that they actually banished him to another dimension because they couldn't control him. Him and Toad got stuck in like a micro dimension for a while, and which was lovely. But yeah, it was it's very weird how later all of the gaslighting people do. Oh, it's based on this historical figure, and Professor X is that historical figure. All that gaslighting those people do. And if you actually read the comics, Magneto was not empathetic at all. That's a new thing.
Yeah, I like Magneto's Holocaust backstory and all of that.
Oh, I like his backstory. I just mean as a villain.
Yeah, and I like that you can. For me, there's like a difference between a character you sympathize with and a character you can understand but not condone their actions. Like with Magneto, I understand how he got into a certain mindset, but that doesn't mean that I condone his actions at all. And like, I think that it can be fun to have him do a team up with the X-Men or something, but I don't like how it's like I don't know what they're going to do with him in the future of comics, but I don't like feeling that he's fully on the side of the good guys and as a status quo.
Yes, I agree. It's very because even with him in the X-Men, the original X-Men trilogy, they were trying to make you understand him, like you were saying, but they weren't trying to make you feel sympathy for him. I felt like Bryan Singer and even Brett Ratner did a decent job of that. You still felt like he was the bad guy.
Yeah. Wait, I'm just checking to see if we've got it. I think we're doing it. Yes, Oppenheimer won Best Cinematography. Yes.
Way to go.
Woohoo. Oppenheimer sweep.
Yeah, it looks like Poor Things and Oppenheimer are the ones to beat right now.
Yeah. I think Oppenheimer's got a pretty clear win, except for like Best Actress.
It's gonna, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's gonna come down to Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone.
Yeah. So let's see what we have next. What was the best year for Hollywood? Somebody says. I would have to do a lot of research to be able to look for that. I can't answer that question off the top of my head.
Well, what do you mean too? Like, do you mean as far as what's the best movie era, or do you mean what's the best? We're talking about the Academy Awards. Could you clarify that for us, Bloom? Because do you mean just in general? Because I would say the 90s because I grew up in the 90s, but that's more for nostalgia reasons. That might not actually be a subjective opinion.
Hello, Josh, the filmmaker. So next we have just the live action short, and then we're in like the home stretch for the final categories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what's going to win this one. Red, White. Let's see. Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Wes Anderson, one of the most overrated filmmakers ever. Red, White, and Blue. Didn't hear about it.
I agree with that comment about
Invincible and After.
I agree with that comment about Wes Anderson being overrated. Okay, Bloom says, in your opinion, best year for Hollywood. So you said 90s.
I would say 90s.
Once again, this would be a question I would have to actually do research on, because I feel like I didn't live through the best year for Hollywood. Like, for me, it would just be, to see the amount of good movies, the amount of classics released. Like, it was crazy in the 10-year span of like the late 70s through the 80s. You get Aliens, you got Terminator, you got the Star Wars films, you got Back to the Future. Just how many classic films came out in that era. So like maybe I would say the 80s.
One of the reasons I said 90s is, I'll admit, it's from nostalgia. It was the 90s was the golden era for animated films.
Wes Anderson just won for whatever short film he made.
Oh, he did.
I hate Wes Anderson.
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
He's like a one-trick, and that sounds like a Wes Anderson film. He's a one-trick pony. He does the same thing in everything he does.
Yes,
and maybe it's interesting the first time, but not every time.
It's an oddball who meets other oddballs, who has an oddball situation, and then an oddball enemy, and then he solves the whole crisis with an oddball idea. That's literally 5-step of a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Everyone I've seen has been like that. Asteroid City, I almost fell asleep in. I forced myself to watch it because everyone was telling me how good it was. And I'm like, I want to finish this thing so I can tell everyone how wrong they are. So next we have sound.
And it should be Oppenheimer again.
Yeah. I think reading this, the only one that might give it some competition is The Creator. But I think Oppenheimer is going to win.
The Creator was so boring. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
So boring. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's also a genre film, so it may not win. I didn't think about that.
It was wannabe Terminator if there was no competent writing in it. It was such a boring film.
That's a shame, because actually I like Gareth. I think he's a decent filmmaker. Gareth Edwards.
Some people, I think they can do like the look of the film and they can't handle the writing, because he was a co-writer on it.
That's how I feel about Denis Villeneuve, with Dune being the exception. I feel like he's very good visually, but his stories
Have you
are
seen
so
Prisoners?
freaking slow.
Have
I
you
haven't
seen
seen
Prisoners?
Prisoners. I
Prisoners is an amazing story.
Okay, I liked what was the alien one that he did?
Arrival?
Arrival. I liked Arrival, but every single one I've seen since then, I'm like, can you just get to the freaking point?
Well, if you like, Prisoners is a movie that stars Hugh Jackman and, oh my goodness, why can't I think? The brother
Jake
of
Gyllenhaal.
Rachel. Yeah, yeah, it's a really good film. It's about basically these two little girls are kidnapped. They're the little girls of two families who were having Thanksgiving celebration together. They get kidnapped, and Hugh Jackman plays the father, who kind of, he's a doomsday prepper, and he kind of loses his mind trying to find these girls. And then uh, uh Gyllenhaal plays the detective, who's like very calculating, and they're both trying to find these girls. And Hugh Jackman takes matters into his own hands, and he does a lot of questionable things just to find these girls. And it's a really, really intense film, and it's very, very well written. I would recommend you watch it.
Okay, I'll try anything once. Someone said, "What about the Five Nights at Freddy's?" I loved that film. It's a good popcorn film. I don't think it should have been nominated at all at the Academy Awards, to be clear, but I just had a good time watching it. It was a lot of fun. That I always say I have the levels. I have bad movies, fun movies, good movies, great movies, and I would categorize Five Nights at Freddy's as a fun movie. Had a blast watching it. It's only 6:20. Why are you yawning?
Time change. I know you don't deal. Do you deal with that in Arizona?
No, we have one time all the time.
Well, we are dealing with a time change around here, so I've been tired all day. Everything's like, it feels like 7:21 to me. I got up way too early. I haven't known what the time is all day, so I just kind of been wandering.
Let's see. Oh, that's weird. Oh, apparently they're what is going on here? I'm at the official Oscars account, and they retweeted a bunch of their old stuff. That's weird. Hang on. So that's how I was keeping it with whoever was winning. Let's see, Academy Awards. Oop, that's not what I meant. Okay, let's see. Best sound is up next. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Oh, okay. For some reason, that was weird. For some reason, I was following the Academy on Twitter, and for some reason, I refreshed it and it went blank. And so I thought, but it's back now. So I guess I just needed to refresh
Okay,
it one more
somebody,
time.
Minty Aqua Green says, "What are your opinions on the Megamind sequel drama?" I haven't even seen the first Megamind, so I can't really comment on that.
I loved the first one. I didn't know there was drama with the sequel. I thought that they were doing a TV show.
They did a direct to Peacock sequel, and it's got like 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whoa! Holy cow!
So like, it was panned, but I don't know what's so bad about it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. Which is weird for me because I usually, I'm such an animation enthusiast, but I have actually not watched that. Last year, I really enjoyed The Monkey King, which was on Netflix. It was a retelling of the first part of the Journey to the West novel.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a pretty good film. I knew it wouldn't get nominated for anything because the story was very fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Still waiting on sound. Orion in the Dark is actually a pretty good movie. I wouldn't be surprised if that's one that DreamWorks submits. It's an original story. Well, it's based on a book, but it was original story compared to what all the sequels DreamWorks is doing. So I'm I think it'll be. I think that one should get nominated next year because it came out this year. So we'll see. Still waiting on best sound, which it should be Oppenheimer. Y'all didn't know I could sing.
Oh, we could just go back to talking about the X-Men again. It's like a partial
Well,
X-Men channel.
have you seen the new Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning? I haven't seen
Yes,
it
I
yet.
have. I've seen it. It's eh,
I heard it wasn't as good as the last one.
the problem is it's like really fun to watch like the practical effects and all of that stuff.
Right.
But it's like the movie doesn't do anything that you haven't already seen in a Mission Impossible film. And
I
so
see.
it's like you can watch it once. I've seen it twice, and it's like, and then I haven't seen it since the theater, even though I loved it when I first watched it, because it's like there's nothing that I feel the need to go back and watch again, and that's its real
Mhm.
problem. Is there was, and that's why it didn't do so well at the box office compared to its budget and the other ones, because it's like there was nothing to get people talking about it.
Yeah, I heard that that it underperformed so badly that they're actually going to rewrite the next one because it was supposed to be like a full on continuation. But I've heard that they're doing a complete rewrite of it where it's just going to kind of make references to Dead Reckoning
Yeah,
as
the problem is
so.
that they were really setting up Dead Reckoning to be like this billion-dollar hit, and so
Yeah.
and it wasn't. I think it went to show why Hollywood never puts part one in a title. I think that the problem with the Mission Impossible franchise is it's just like been going on for so long. And like I can admit this, and I'm not saying this to be insulting to the actors, but it's like all of the talent in this movie are in their 40s and they
Mhm.
look like it. I mean, there's like no young talent anymore. These are guys who have been doing this for 2 decades, and so
Well,
it's just
did
go
you hear
ahead.
the drama about Mission Impossible?
No,
So Tom Cruise said he only wanted to do one or two more. I think he wants to do 12, is what he said. And they were saying that if he does that, then MGM, because MGM got bought out by Amazon. Amazon wants to do a new Mission Impossible TV series that would be based in the same world, but it would be a different team. Tom Cruise told Amazon where they could go and said if they try that, he will sue them. Because I guess his studio, his little studio that he runs, actually owns Mission Impossible. He just has a deal with MGM to produce the movies.
Mhm.
So he basically said that's not going to happen. Bloom, do you think Marvel will ever recover? If they hire me and Jester Bell to run Marvel, she can run the X-Men stuff and I'll run the Avengers stuff and we'll do crossovers.
Yeah,
We'll hire some rando to do Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. Then well maybe your sister to run Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. That's how Marvel recovers.
I actually am. I actually am dabbling in writing X-Men right now for writing practice. So,
There you go.
and the hardest part about
Wattpad.
it is just considering all of the characters. Like I make things like theoretically, if this was a movie and I was structuring that way, and the hardest way is to think, okay, like how do I make sure that I give these characters their just dues, their development, because that's the most difficult thing. And that's why there is ample argument that X-Men should be a TV show and not movies, because I was thinking back to the Avengers stuff and thinking part of the problems with those movies, with as much oh, the Oscar for best sound goes to The Zone of Interest.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. So they gave that movie a nod. Good for them. Or
I thought for sure it was going to be Oppenheimer.
me too. I saw it in IMAX. The Oppenheimer. I mean, that I thought it would be Oppenheimer as well.
Hmm. Oh,
So
well,
up next we
I
have.
haven't seen, like, I'm sure Zone of Interest is good, so I'm not mad about it or anything. But what I was just to close out my last thought, I was gonna say is that part of the problem with the Avengers films is that they had a hard time juggling so many characters. So sometimes it felt like Bruce Banner's character, I think, deteriorated over the films, and like so many things they could have developed were never developed, and I think that's probably because they had a hard time juggling so many characters. And so I think that might be an argument for doing the uh the X-Men as TV, but Disney's going to want to do them as movies because that's where they think they're going to get the most money at.
Yeah, I think you're right. For next we have best original score. So
Oppenheimer.
yeah.
Oppenheimer.
The nominees are American Fiction, Laura Cartman, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Williams. It's probably the only award that that one should be nominated. Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson, who passed away before the Academy Awards, so he might win. Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson, who is an amazing
Yeah.
score, and then Poor Things, Jenskin Fendrix. Killer of the Flower Moons may win the sympathy vote there, but I've not seen it, so I can't say if it's good. But
The best soundtrack I've heard from last year was Oppenheimer, and I'm really becoming a fan of that composer right now. So that's what I'm looking for.
I'm trying to think what's because I like the score for Oppenheimer, but honestly, I haven't like it doesn't. I don't remember it that well. Like I remember some of the sequences, but what pulled me into Oppenheimer was how amazingly it was acted, the story was told, and etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be honest, like the soundtrack just did not stick out to me.
Well, I really liked the soundtrack. So that's where I'm at. Ryan Gosling is currently performing "I'm Just Ken" at the Oscars.
Well, that settles it. I'm Just Kidding is going to win.
I think it's gonna be the Billie Eilish song because
You
she's
think
already
so?
won before.
Yeah, the nominees for Best Original, The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. That was actually not a bad film. It wasn't like blow me away amazing, but I actually enjoyed it. I'm Just a Ken. It Never Went Away from American Sympathy. Song for My People, Killers of the Flower Moon. What Was I Made For? Barbie. Well, so Barbie got 2 nominations?
Yeah,
Oh, that shouldn't be allowed.
I think
One
that
per
that one's.
category.
I think that that's gonna win Best Original Song at least. So
Oh,
Barbie
it's
gets
not going to be I'm Just a Kid. It's not going to that one's not going to win.
no. Uh, and boy, like
Didn't it win at the Golden Globes and everyone was stunned?
it
Like
won the one. It got the one win at the Golden Globes. It won that for that song.
yeah, I remember because the Ryan Gosling's face was a meme for a while
Yeah.
because he was surprised it won. That was funny. Yeah, sorry, you get 1 per category. You shouldn't be 2 from the same. Excuse me.
It's a
That's
good
just
thing that Dune moved because it would probably just because then that would like clutter the cinematography wins, and that movie has such good cinematography. Like it would go toe to toe with Oppenheimer. So it's good that they moved it for the next season.
Yeah, I agree. I still haven't seen it. I need to go just make
Oh,
time to
I've
go
seen it
see
three
it.
times already. I've seen it
Oh,
three
really?
times already.
Because I
It
like the first one. Like I said, that's one of Dune is an exception with Denis Villeneuve. I really liked his. I
Yeah,
really like Dune.
the second movie, in my opinion, blows the first movie out of the water.
Oh, does it? Okay, that's good
Yeah.
to know.
2 people questions. Cameron Ryder, Jess, how do you deal with trolls, haters, and people on YouTube who don't like you? Well, I'm learning to deal with that because as I get a bigger audience, I get more and more trolls, and I have to now accept the fact that I no longer have my little niche where we all agree with each other anymore. I have to deal with a lot of people who are saying things to get a reaction or stuff. So I'm learning on that. How do you think cable TV is doing as a whole against streaming services? I think cable TV is dead, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of sad because now streaming services are starting to become cable TV.
Yeah.
Honestly, think it's going to go back where it's going to. I think because I've heard rumors that Paramount Plus is doing terrible. That apparently it confused people because it used to be CBS
All access?
All Access, and it confused people when it turned into Paramount Plus, so everyone just canceled, and they never really got anyone back, even with all their Star Trek stuff, because their Star Trek stuff is terrible, quite frankly. But and or Nickelodeon, and I honestly think it's going to go back to we're going to go back to a situation where it's going to be Hulu, Netflix, and I think Max will limp along because they have Turner Classic Movies.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm just distracted by these pictures of Ryan Gosling dressed in pinks performing "I'm Just Ken." Sorry about that.
No
They were
worries,
just
no
a
worries.
moment distracting.
That's funny. But yeah, that's my theory on streaming. Eventually, it's going to go back to just those three,
Yeah.
which it's a shame because the guy who runs Netflix right now, they need to fire that guy. That guy is nuts. All the decisions he's making. If
Right
they
now,
hired a, oh, go ahead.
it just seems like everything from like the Hollywood theatrically released movies to streaming just is not being well run right now. Or
Yeah.
anything. Like we just had like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League bomb as a live service game, and all these live service games bombing, and then WB says we want to just focus on live service games.
I think it's stubbornness. They think that it's what I was talking about. What Dakota Johnson said. They think we're stupid, and so they're just going to keep serving us slop. They're under the impression that Kill the Justice League did poorly because of how they mistreated Kevin Conroy, and that's only part of the reason people don't like it. Besides that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, people don't want to continuously have to pay or be online to play a game, because one of the things that they were complaining about with that game was that it would constantly kick themselves offline.
Yeah, I remember one guy reviewed it, and he was upset because he paid for it, and then it kept shutting down, but he could still access the store. So so it was like he couldn't play, but then he could buy something. And that really made him mad because he was like, I can't even play the game, but you're going to just shove me off to the shop. So that would tick me off too. That's why I don't really like live service games unless they're open world. Very rarely will I play a live service game.
Okay, let's see. I have to say, John Cena is invisible jokes are really annoying to me. They're so annoying. I don't get it.
I don't get John Cena. Like I really don't understand how he became popular all of a sudden.
I just saw a meme of like a wind up head banging itself against a rock, and it said how it feels to argue with someone who never admits they're wrong. And I had that once with a guy. This guy who would I was arguing with he ended the conversation because we were just arguing, going in circles. He's like, well, you're just driving the conversation in circles. And I'm like, I didn't say this because I realized it was time to be done, but I'm like, you're the one who's driving the conversation in circles because you contradict yourself twice every time we argue because you just can't be wrong.
Yeah.
You're the one who's going in circles and you won't admit it, but it's just like, you can't be wrong. You keep contradicting yourself.
Yeah, I know there was this guy who was mad at me because, I have my whole belief about why the prequels aren't as beloved as they should be. And this guy was like, that's not true. That's not true. I read the reviews. And he goes, how dare you accuse insert random YouTube channel review. How dare you accuse them of that? And like, I was there. I remember reading the views. The Phantom Menace was considered incredibly original at the time, at least by the movie critics. And then later, because like I said, that random YouTube channel gave it a really boring, long 5-hour review. All of a sudden, I don't think it was actually 5 hours, but it was way too long. All of a sudden, oh, I hate it. I don't like it anymore. And it's just so dumb. It just shows you that was really when the power of YouTube came into play. But this guy was trying to argue with me, telling me that wasn't the case. He said he said something like, I was in theater and I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, so you didn't like it. Whatever. What difference does that make? That's very anecdotal because I was 11 when I saw it and I loved it. So came out in 99, right? Phantom Menace came out. Yeah, I was 11 when I saw it. I thought it was fantastic. So
well, to give you I'll tell you the specific context to this argument because I still don't see like the best original score thing coming on. Anyway, the context was it was back when I was reviewing comics and I quit it very recently, and I had to review the Harley Quinn comics. And as two of the guys in the Discord were talking and saying, wow, these Harley Quinn comics don't sell anything, and because they're so terrible, and they don't sell, and they're terrible, and they're just so badly written. And I said, part of the reason it's badly written is this character wasn't like, this is just part of it, but part of it is the character wasn't meant to be anything other than a sidekick obsessed with the Joker, and they've tried to make her so much on her own. And that's part of why everything's so badly written, because they keep trying to force like a square peg into a round hole. And the guy says, I don't disagree with that. And I said, they just ought to take her back to basics if they want things to get better. And he says, no, that they can't do that. And I said, well, why not? That's the problem. He's like, that's not the problem. It's the bad writing. And I said, it's the bad writing because they took her away from the Joker. I'm like, you just admitted that's it. And he's like, no, he's like, I don't disagree with that. And I said, well, that's why we need to take the character back to basics. And he says, no, that's not the problem. It's the bad writing. And this went on for a long time. And he's like, you're just not acknowledging that that's not the only problem. And I said, I specifically said that is not the only problem, but it's a major one. And so by the end of this whole spiel, he's like, well, we're just arguing, and you're just arguing in circles with me. And I'm like, the reason I'm arguing in circles with you is because you keep contradicting yourself every 2 minutes.
That's hilarious. I think we have the best original score announcement.
Oh, finally, where?
I see it on Twitter. Are you ready?
Oppenheimer, yes! Yes! Oh my goodness.
Oppenheimer.
This composer also won Best Original Score for Black Panther as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And he also was the composer for The Mandalorian season 1, I think.
I do like that theme, even though I'm not a fan of the show.
Oh, you should be. That's the first 2 seasons are like the best Disney has done since Rogue One. I'm kidding. You can like or dislike whatever you want.
I do not like The Mandalorian. Well, people have come around to agree with me recently and not like The Mandalorian.
They're mad about season 3 and season 4. Most of the people who are coming around, but I really like I really like season 1 and season 2, especially the finale of season 2. It's peak as far as TV show Star Wars, I should say, not Star Wars, TV show Star Wars.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I've liked anything from Disney Star Wars since Rogue One. And in fact, what was I about to say? Like, I haven't watched Rogue One in years, because after The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, it's like my opinions on anything Disney Star Wars were tainted. So I haven't watched The Force Awakens in years. Like, anything that is Disney and Star Wars, I haven't enjoyed and haven't wanted to revisit.
You should at least, and I know you're not into anime, but you should at least watch the first season of Star Wars Vision, because the people who made it were actually fans of the original George Lucas Star Wars.
I have to interrupt you. We got another win.
Nice. What we got?
Billie Eilish's "What Was I Made For" wins Best Original Song from Barbie.
Oh, you totally called it. Way to go.
Yeah, I knew it. And it's a good song. Regardless of the film, it is a very good song. So I'm glad that won. I called it.
You sure did. I just wasn't sure.
That was rapid fire. That was rapid fire. Let me see. So
Next
now we have. So Barbie won one thing. Barbie won one thing, and that's the only thing it's gonna get.
You don't think it's gonna get anything else after this?
Like Best Picture, no, it's not gonna get that. That'd be crazy if they like didn't award Barbie for anything major and then it got Best Picture. That would be a curveball.
That would be funny.
Next is we got only 4 categories left. We have actor in a leading role, rooting for Cillian Murphy. Directing, rooting for Christopher Nolan. Actress in a leading role, I think it's gonna be Emma Stone. I hope it's Lily Gladstone. Best Picture, Oppenheimer. So just 4 categories left.
I agree with all of those, except I do want Paul Giamatti to win for The Holdovers. But if he doesn't, I want it to be Cillian Murphy.
This is the second Oscar for Billie Eilish. She also won for No Time to Die for James Bond.
I haven't seen No Time to Die, but I heard the song. It's actually a pretty good song.
It is. It's a really good song. I have it. Billie Eilish, I know that most of her music is considered like for edgelords and stuff, but she actually is a very talented artist.
Yes, I agree with that. I think she's good.
Okay, so is the youngest 2-time Oscar winner in history at 22 years old. Wow, she's only 22. I thought she was older.
I didn't know she was just 22. That's amazing. Good for her. Yeah, I remember people were giving her a hard time because she went on Jimmy Kimmel and he was asking her who her influences were, and she wasn't naming like people past a certain era. And so then he said, "Well, do you know who this is?" And he was naming popular like 80s bands, and she was like, "I don't know who any of these people are," and she kind of got embarrassed. And I remember thinking, and Kimmel kind of defended her, and he's like, "Well, yeah, but you know, you're more into this type of music, so you may not be familiar with them." And people were making fun of her, but I was like, you know, I'm a new, you know, hindsight, I'm a newer YouTuber. I don't know who was on YouTube all those years ago. I mean, I know who I like to watch, like Julian Smith, but I
Hmm.
don't know
I
anyone else.
remember Julian Smith. He
Yeah,
kind of fell off the face of the planet, didn't
well,
he?
he started a marketing company and he makes commercials now.
Oh,
So
okay. So
yeah, he pops up every once in a while, but he that's what he's up to these days. He makes a lot of money doing it too.
okay, let's see. What do we have next?
I think best actor is next. Best actor.
So best actor, come on, Killian.
Come on, come on, Paul. You can do it.
We just have the 4 major categories left.
We're coming toward the end. Let's see. Here we go. Are they on stage yet?
Not see. I'm going to try to see if I can find it on live again. Maybe somebody sneaked out one.
I'll do it live. Do it live.
We'll do it live.
I actually watched an interview with Bill O'Reilly where he was talking about that moment, and it was and he was saying, "Y'all all saw that last 2 minutes." And he said, "You don't understand. It had been like 3 hours, and that's why I was angry because
Yeah.
they kept telling me you did it. You said this wrong. You did that wrong. You looked in the wrong camera." He said, "I had been there for 3 hours, and then so." At that point, I had just had enough, and that's why I was like, "I'm just going to do it live. Just let me do it live. Just let me do it live." So I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oppenheimer swoop. Best actor will be presented next. I can't find it live. Thank you to all the 45 people who are watching still. Let's see. Do you think Disney should make a 2D animated Mickey Mouse movie focusing on Mickey Mouse and the antagonist should be Pete, Mortimer Mouse, and the Phantom Blot? The problem is that, I mean, they could do that. The problem is that they haven't used Mickey Mouse as a character for a while.
They should. I think that would actually, if they did a solid Disney movie, swap out the Phantom Blot for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and I think that would kill. Oswald was actually the original, supposed to be the original character, but someone stole the rights from Walt. And now then Disney bought the company after he died. They bought the company that had the rights.
Silly. They got their revenge finally.
Yeah.
Seeing this. Let's see. It should be updating by now.
Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Still no Twitter announcement yet. Sorry, I'm also checking on my phone as
I don't
I'm
mean
on
to
my
leave you
lap.
guys in the dark. Thank you for all 45 of you watching. Inside Out 2 looks like a copy of the first one. I actually think Inside Out 2 looks good.
Really, I think it looks dumb.
I think it looks okay.
They established the 5 emotions are the 5 emotions. So why all of a sudden are there more? That doesn't make
These
any
are
sense to me. They've broken the lore. That's what this new Disney always does. They want to break the lore on stuff.
Well, it
They want.
kind of, I don't know. Let's give them a chance to explain themselves.
I could just be being dramatic, but after Lightyear, I am not
Yeah.
trustful of what the new people at Pixar are doing. Which I actually heard that most of them left and went to oh, what's that movie company? The company that made Luck.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't name it.
Yeah, same, because they hired Lasseter to take over their animated division, and I heard a lot of the original Pixar people quit to go work with Lasseter at the other company.
I don't know why it's taking so long to get to the next category. It's just Best Actor. They're doing the in memoran right now.
Oh, okay. You know, not to be why not do that at the beginning?
They really should do it at the beginning.
Yeah, they should do that at the beginning. Kevin Conroy better be on there. Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm was a theatrical film.
Okay, still nothing.
Well, they're doing. I know I have my laptop up on one thing and have my phone up on another.
Just some pictures with Robert Downey Jr. and his Oscar. The Godzilla team was wearing Godzilla claws as heels. Wow.
Man, mad respect for them. If you could direct a Godzilla movie, Jester Bell, what would you call it?
Godzilla +1. Godzilla gets a girlfriend.
That's Mothra.
And that's how he has his son. Then we do Son of Godzilla.
For me, Godzilla, Long Live the King.
I would do, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Godzilla isn't a film that I've thought of doing one myself. I've even thought of doing a King Kong movie because they've gotten King Kong wrong since the 30s, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually read an interview with the guy who did one of the King Kong sequels. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made. And he said that I was so oblivious. I saw it in theaters. I think he was one of the producers. And I thought, this is magnificent. I love this movie. Everyone's going to love this movie. And then I think it was called King Kong Lives or something like that. And then the next day he goes back to the studio and everyone's apologizing to him. They're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that," and he's like, what? And it was and he found out it's a bomb, and the critics are calling it one of the worst movies ever made. And he was talking about just how disappointing that was. That, you know, he was a producer on it, and he's like, this is going to be my legacy now, is that I was the guy who bombed a King Kong film.
Yeah. Well, the problem with King Kong is the original sorry. I just coughed right to the mic. I'm sorry, you guys. The original the original concept for King Kong was Twisted Beauty and the Beast. Right. And then everyone since then thought, oh no, it's just Beauty and the Beast. So they make the girl like care about Kong and try to rescue him and all that. And like, that's the one thing that you shouldn't change about this script. That's like the fundamental change. And that's why I just don't feel like there's ever been a good King Kong movie since.
Yeah, I agree. The Peter Jackson King Kong just felt like a PETA commercial.
Yeah.
It didn't have any of. I do think the 70s one is okay, but you're right. The 30s is still the best.
Hmm.
That and the original Godzilla King Kong, even though Godzilla should have won that film.
Here's a picture of Godzilla holding an Oscar.
That's what the internet is made for.
Hmm.
Sometimes I wonder, like overseas, are the Academy Awards considered the gold standard of film awards like it is here? Because I know the
I
British also have the BAFTA, but I
Yeah,
don't hear like, oh, my film won a BAFTA, and I'm all excited unless you're British.
yeah. I think the Oscars are still considered the gold standard because the film industry is still considered the most prominent in
Hmm.
America.
The Hollywood industry.
Yeah.
It still just says Best Original Song is the last one that updated. Okay, I'll recap. Best Actor: Bradley Cooper, Maestro; Coleman Domingo, Rustin. I didn't even hear about that movie. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers; Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer; Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. So
Oh,
you're rooting?
they
Oh, go
didn't
ahead.
mention Lance Redrick in the in memoriam or whatever however you pronounce it.
They didn't. Well, he might have been in last year's, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he have
What,
been?
didn't he pass away this year though?
Oh, you're right. Everything is running together for me.
I don't know.
Did they
It
mention
might
a?
have been last year though. It might have been last year.
Yeah. Oh, someone said Miyazaki won. Yes, The Boy and the Heron won Best Animated Film.
Let's see.
Which movie do you think has the most memorable soundtrack? Oh, that's easy. Lord of the Rings. I'm just gonna say the trilogy. It has the most memorable soundtrack.
Let's see. I'm just still trying to see.
Man, what are they doing? Did they go to a commercial break or something? This one feels
They
like it's
must
taking a
have.
long
We've been
time.
waiting for a long time. I feel like maybe they're gonna do like a sweep, unless they
Probably.
try to stretch out the next 4 awards for another hour.
The guy who made Dragon Ball passed away, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm. That's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow on my vidcast. He passed. He actually passed away 9 days ago, but his family didn't announce it till Friday because they wanted to have the funeral in private. They didn't want to have a big state funeral like a lot of the celebrities do sometimes. So yeah, that was really sad. That I on my Instagram I posted a picture of Superman hugging Goku and crying together because Goku is kind of considered Japan's Superman.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was very sad. I don't know. I don't know if he'll appear on the in memoriam on the Academy Awards because they could really care less. But yeah, Akira Toriyama, people in Japan call him the grandfather of anime and manga. So he really put Shonen Jump on the map. He put the Shonen genre on the map. So very sad.
I'm just getting the "I'm Just Ken" performance in my feed constantly, and I'm gonna have to watch it later. Well, let me see if I can get it up on here. Let me see.
I tell you, with respect to Toriyama, I was reading a lot of other manga artists reacting to his death, and to me, the saddest was the One Piece creator. He said he was my sensei and everything. Yes,
I
Toriyama. That's what I said.
Mhm.
Who knows if he was that popular worldwide? Oh, he was popular worldwide. There's actually a running joke that in Mexico, the cartels are declaring a ceasefire because they want to honor him because that's how big Goku is in Mexico. I'm
still
saying
not.
Toriyama. What do you want me to? I don't know why you keep correcting me. I'm saying Toriyama. My accent might be my subtle Texan accent might be throwing me off a little bit.
I'm trying to watch. This is a good performance from Ryan Gosling. I'm now watching.
Back in 2022, we lost the guy who made Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, that was very sad. He actually died a hero, though. He saved a little boy from drowning, and then in the process tragically died himself. What a man. I did not say Toriyumi. I said Toriyama. Oh my gosh.
You said Toriyama. He said Toriyama. I love this
I did not say Toriyami. Toriyama. That's what I've been saying. Did anyone hear about
I love this argument.
Did anyone hear about how they are turning the Twilight films into an animated show? Oh, if that's true, that would be the best thing for me on my channel, because I will make fun of that to no end. That will be I'm going to say it. This is exclusive, Jester Bell. If that is a true thing, I'm going to have fun with that.
Oh, I'll watch it, definitely. Bad content made is just good content for us YouTubers. Oh!
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy wins.
Congratulations, Cillian Murphy. I still think it should have been Paul Giamatti, but good for him.
Get out the wine, get out the champagne. Cillian Murphy, the Scarecrow, wins. I'm so happy. Yeah. This is a good night. This is a good night.
Yeah, so far I've not been, other than Poor Things winning a couple of times.
Oppie sweep. That's what I'm just calling it. Oh, amazing. He in my opinion, Cillian Murphy deserved to win. I choked. people have the photoshopped image of Oppenheimer smiling to celebrate. Oh my goodness, I am so looking. Are we both on board? Christopher Nolan winning for best director.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Okay, so we are 100% on board with that.
Yeah, and best picture. I think it should win best picture.
Best picture. So we're both okay. So we have Nolan next, hopefully winning. Let me see. Best directing.
I have to admit,
actress and the best picture.
I have to admit, with the best director, with the exception of Poor Things, this isn't a bad list. They're all movies that at least were a little popular.
Mm-hmm.
Zone of Interest is, I know people like Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Anatomy of a Fall. Those four were all well-received films. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, for best director, this is a pretty good list. Very competitive. But I think it should be Nolan.
It took us forever to get to like a best actor. So mm-hmm. I hope they haven't gone to a break or anything.
Yeah, same. The Kentaro Miura also died a couple. Yeah, he was for those of you who don't know, he was the creator of Berserk. I've not seen Berserk yet. I'm trying to work up the courage to watch it because I hear it's incredibly violent. But yes, he passed away, but his apprentice did take over and completed the story for him, which was really great of his apprentice. So
let's go see it.
I'm using my anime factoids to fill in the in-between when they go to commercial breaks. And being corrected on how to say the name of a Japanese mangaka that I adore. Chat. I'm just giving y'all a hard time.
I don't know if we have to wait a long time now.
Did they go to commercial break?
Yeah,
because we're down to the last three.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I feel like they're going to just stretch it out for the next 30 minutes.
Really? I thought they were overtime. Because it was supposed to end at 7. Oh, wait. Nolan wins best director for Oppenheimer. Yes.
Oh! Clap until your hands get sore. Clap, Jacob, clap.
I'm typing awesome into Twitter. Oh, okay. Man. Yes, my favorite director wins best directing. I love it.
Let me refresh this.
You should have won for Inception.
Oh, my goodness. Long have I waited is what I'm going to say.
All right, best actress. I wonder why they staggered it like that. They should have done best actor, best actress, best director, best picture. All right. Best actress is next. We've got.
It's probably going to be Emma Stone.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Emma Stone too. I haven't seen any of the movies on the best actress list, so I don't know who should win.
Oh well, I would say Lily Gladstone.
Really?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Objectively, just from because I have seen them, all these ladies act with the exception of Sandra Hüller. Carey Mulligan, in my opinion, is the best actress on this list.
Yeah, she's very good. I haven't seen that movie though.
Yeah, same. I haven't seen any of these. I was going to watch Maestro, but I just never made the time. Even though it was a Netflix film, I could have done that.
I'm going to finish this I'm Just Ken performance really quick.
Go for it. Let's see. I hope Lily wins. A video on some of PR reasons would be fire. PR seasons? PR seasons. I think Emma Stone is winning. I think you're right. What's PR seasons? I'm confused.
I think Emma Stone is winning. I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think she's going to win. Hollywood likes those weirdo movies where directors and writers are just filling out their therapy notes.
Oh, the post of the Academy, the post of the Academy announcing Christopher Nolan win has almost 10,000 hearts already after it's just been 2 minutes,
including mine.
Woohoo!
Andrea Bocelli on The Great Gift on performing with his son at the 96 Oscars. I don't know what that's about. Good for them. What is a hot take you have on an actress or actor? Jared Leto is probably the worst working actor ever. I don't know how that man keeps getting roles. He wasn't good in American Psycho. He wasn't good in The Suicide Squad. He wasn't good in that movie where he played a serial killer. He wasn't good in Morbius, especially. I don't know how he keeps getting roles. The man cannot act his way out of a paper bag. It's whenever I see starring Jared Leto, I roll my eyes. I'm like, this is gonna be a terrible movie.
He's definitely the most unpopular actor right now, I would say.
You think so?
What was that? I was gonna
say it's probably Ezra Miller.
Like Ezra Miller, like people only know him as the Flash, though. Like Jared Leto consistently keeps getting cast as things, and everybody hates him. Like the new Tron movie, people are like, I hate this already because you cast Jared Leto.
Yeah, same. That was me. I was like, I already know this is going to be bad.
What was I about to say? I think I already said my hot take on here is that I think that Margot Robbie is not a very good actress. Actually, I think that she as a person has a certain charisma to her. Like in real life, she seems like she's a nice person to be around, and that comes over in her roles. I just think that as an actress, people have realized, oh, she just does the same thing all the time. She doesn't actually have that much range.
I'm going to clip this because my sister has a crush on him.
What?
That's great. That's what in the comments. That's
I thought you were talking about your own sister. Ezra Miller is just Ezra is just a menace. Leto is still being cast and stuff. I know, like, who knows Ezra Miller from anything other than the Flash movie no one wanted?
Well, and also Fantastic Beasts. He's also in that series, in that franchise.
I think we've got Best Actress coming up.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, let's see.
It's insane that Nolan only has one Oscar for a film, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. He should have won for Inception.
I agree. And The Dark Knight.
And The Dark Knight. Yeah, totally agree. Heath Ledger won at least. I'll give him that. How many superheroes have won an Oscar? Joker, Black Panther, The Dark Knight?
Yes.
Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
The ending of Oppenheimer, when Oppenheimer is just kind of imagining the destruction of the world. Some people have taken that and made him imagine the creation of Godzilla instead.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Send that to you.
Please do. Please do. I
I'll see
love
if I can
that.
find it. I'll send it. It is actually rather shocking that Barbie didn't get costume design and production design. Let me see.
I
Oppen.
wonder what the Barbie movie would have been like if it came out in the early 2000s. I think they would have just made Barbie an actual person if it came out in the 2000s. So
Mhm.
her name is like Barbara, but people call her Barbie, and she's like a model or something. If I could
Mhm.
take just growing up in the early 90s and the early 2000s, that's what I would guess. Oh, did Suicide Squad win costume design?
Oh yeah, it did. No, it
Okay.
did. It won makeup and hairstyling.
Oh, okay, okay. The Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. We have to
Wow.
clarify. Christopher the Goat Nolan, people say.
Well, Spider-Verse is animated. It won Best Animated Film. I was talking. I should have specified I was talking live action.
Okay, I'm tagging you on Twitter for that Oppenheimer. Jacob Airy.
It's real Jacob Airy.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's why I can never find you. Real. I could send this to Timothy Chalamet if I wanted.
I did that because someone created a bot of me. I reported it and it got taken down. So that's what someone created a bot of me because I don't like Snyder. So someone made a bot where I like Snyder. So I reported it and it got taken down, but I had changed it to real Jacob Airy.
I'm so glad that we're done with the Snyder era.
Yeah, you can tell because his little hissy fit he threw in his interview with Variety didn't get any play.
Or neither did, like, he was on Joe Rogan and he was saying crazy stuff and like
Yeah.
it was all just negative.
It's like he won. It's like he won the fight. He should be happy.
Mm-hmm.
His own fans kind of kneecapped him because did you hear they were encouraging each other to pirate the Justice League Snyder cut,
Mm-hmm.
and so then it didn't do well on Max because people were pirating it.
Why were they encouraging each other to pirate it?
Because the idea was Warner Brothers shouldn't get the money from it, but then it kneecapped them.
That's so. It was such a weird hive mentality of the Snyder. There's a reason why it was called the Snyder Cut. I mean, the Snyder Cult.
Oh yeah. I saw someone did like a whole documentary on them, and like, you know, for a while they were calling him Zaddy. And everyone, what? Superman 1978 won an Oscar too? Oh, I didn't know that. I like the original. I like the Superman 1978. I didn't know it won an Oscar.
Okay, I think they're presenting now for Best Actress.
Okay, here we go. Bum bum bum.
47 people watching. Thank you.
You 47 people rock. I don't think Batman 89 won an Oscar. It may have been nominated, but I don't think it won. I don't know about Spider-Man 2. I was a kid when that came out. Do, 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 do.
Still not updated. Still talking.
Emma Stone is trending. So she's the favorite.
Lily Gladstone is trending for me. I wonder if they're just hearing what we're saying, and that's what it's getting.
That's a creepy thought.
Well, the funny thing is, my mom was talking to my sister about something the other day, and while she was talking to her about it, an ad for it popped up on her computer and in her Amazon stuff. And so I'm convinced at this point that there's just some sort of listeners in your computer that can hear what you're talking about.
It's just blatant right now, huh?
Emma Stone wins Best Actress. I knew this.
Boo.
What the things you have to do to win a Best Actress?
Yeah, I know, right?
Blick.
Called it.
Well, I saw this coming. I had a little hope when Lily Gladstone won when she won the SAG, because the SAG has a lot of Academy voters on it, but it was kind of clear it was going to be Emma Stone. Well, she's. Well, there's nothing. Oh, Steven Spielberg presented Christopher Nolan with his Oscar. That's nice.
Oh, cool.
I have to watch all of these videos recapping it when this is done. I'm still trying to finish. I'm just kidding.
All right, so we're at the final one, right?
Yeah, we're at Best Picture, and I think it's going to be Oppenheimer. I mean,
think it is
pretty obvious, unless they just say, "Oh, Barbie." Yeah.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if just some random one won, like, all
Yeah.
Past Lives or American Fiction just takes it home? Everyone's like, what the heck? Where did that come from?
Yeah. If it was Barbie, then it would be like really funny. Like, after all this time of them just snubbing it for the entire award seasons, there's just like Best Picture, Barbie. Take everyone by surprise. It's so obviously going to be Oppenheimer, though.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Let's see. I really hope that Christopher Nolan makes good on his promise to do a horror movie. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
It could do like a psychological, really smart movie like Alfred Hitchcock. And the Oscar for Best Picture. I bet they're going to go to a commercial break.
Probably. Got to milk it.
Oh, what do you think of Christopher Nolan doing James Bond like he wants to?
It would depend on who would star in it, but I think because sometimes when they get directors like say Nolan doing a James Bond film, they don't pick a good actor that they have synergy with. That would be my thing. So say he gets Christian Bale to be. I'm just saying because he knows Christian Bale, I think it would be really good. But if it's some random niche British actor, say Tom Middleton, who he's never worked before, I don't think that it would work well.
I think that
because he likes his insular, he always gets to the same people that he works with, which is what Hitchcock used to do.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I think that Henry Cavill would actually be a perfect James Bond.
Yeah, which is why he's not going to get it.
Yeah,
that's what happened with what's his name? The guy from oh golly, the guy from the Pink Panther. I can't think of his name though. He had a cameo in the Pink Panther where they made a joke about him not being James Bond. I'm trying to remember what his name is. He was actually the right person, but he lost out to Daniel Craig, and he was the favored person, but they just went with Craig because he had just done triple or Layer Cake, which is a good movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Man, why am I blanking on this guy's name? Clive Owen. He was obviously he would have been perfect for Bond.
Okay, someone has a question. Video game movies or toy line movies? What will be more popular this decade? I think it's going to be, I don't know. I think we have more video game movies in the pipeline that have the potential. Like Super Mario Brothers 2 was just announced. I think you could do a very successful Zelda film. I don't know of any toy line as popular as Barbie that could bring about that same amount of success. Like they've already done Legos and they've done Barbie, and those are the two most popular.
Well, we've got Transformers 1 coming out, but Peter Cullen isn't the voice of Optimus Prime. What are they thinking? What?
I think we got it. No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Sorry, false alarm. Sorry. Somebody in the comments said Oppenheimer, and I was like, what?
I know, because I'm watching it too. As long as Peter Cullen or Neil Kaplan is alive, there's no reason that anyone but those two guys should be voicing Optimus Prime. Just ridiculous. But Chris Hemsworth is voicing him, which Chris Hemsworth is a fine actor, but he should not be Optimus Prime.
Looks like Nick Cage is on the stand.
Oh, did you hear he finally paid off all of his debt?
Somebody says that this is pretty much every award predicted that won, and I agree it is, and that's why I wasn't as invested as it was predictable. People are saying this Oscar ceremony was entertaining. This Ryan Gosling performance is entertaining. I just haven't been able to actually watch the thing. I'll just have to go back and watch them all.
I still don't know how an Uno film will work. That's right. They're doing a film based on Uno.
Oh, so you know Uno? I love
funny.
that joke. Anyway, there was I'm gotta tell you the story before we're missing it. Best Picture, Oppenheimer!
Yes!
Yay! What a night. What a night. The only thing I'm disappointed with is all the Poor Things wins, but otherwise everything I thought should win. Like I thought Barbie should win, like production design and stuff like that. But other than that, I am so happy for the Nolan win, the Cillian Murphy win, the Robert Downey Jr. win, the What Was I Made For win. It's all good stuff. Boy and the Heron won.
Yes, I'm most excited about Oppenheimer, The Boy and the Heron, and Godzilla -1. Fantastic. Those three were my favorite movies, so I was very excited about those. I do think Godzilla -1 should have won more, but I'm glad it won at least one.
Oh my goodness, I'm so tired after all of this because I'm still
same.
I'm still messed up from the time change. I'm glad you don't have to deal with that, Jacob. But I think we need to close things up for now. So, Jacob, your summary of tonight. Are you overall happy with the wins or dissatisfied with them?
The only thing I'm unhappy with is how is that Poor Things won so many. I don't think it deserved one award, much less to be nominated. However, I am happy that Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1, and The Boy and the Heron, my three favorite films of 2023, won awards tonight. Especially The Boy and the Heron had a lot of competition on the animated film category, but it still won. Hayao Miyazaki, you're one of my inspirations. I'm so happy that you won your second Oscar after Spirited Away. And congratulations to the team behind Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan, again, you're my favorite director. I'm very happy that you finally won an Oscar. Congratulations, Robert Downey Jr. And, of course, for Godzilla -1, well-deserved on the special effects. Your team did an amazing job with that. And I hope that Godzilla -2 is going to be just as epic.
I would agree. I think that Barbie should have gone production design and costume design and not Poor Things. Not happy about Poor Things. But apart from that, I think this is a historic night. Christopher Nolan is the director of a generation. He has inspired so many of us. It is such a historic moment to see him finally win his Oscar. I think it is absolutely well-deserved, as are it also a historic night for Robert Downey Jr. going from a 10-year run of Marvel, coming back from his personal life, going from Marvel to an Oscar. He just keeps winning. He absolutely deserved it. Cillian Murphy, such an underrated actor that I've loved for years, getting an Oscar. Godzilla -1 VFX team showing people how it's done. I'm just very happy about all this. It was actually a good Oscars night, even though I couldn't actually watch it. People online are saying that it was actually a pretty entertaining show, even though I couldn't watch it in full, but I'm definitely going to go watch the clips. Thank you guys, everybody who tuned in tonight and were able to join in on this historic Oscar season. I know we have some criticisms with how the award ceremony is run, but there were a lot of good things this time around. So thank you guys all for watching. I will see you guys all for new videos very soon, and we'll see you guys next time.